guys, Tori here from Overlook Horizon. Another early morning for us here today. It's a sleepy morning. It's 4 o'clock in the morning on, what are we, Saturday now, April 24th. But we're here. The dedication is real. We're gonna watch some docking, hopefully. They are, the crew is in their suits already. This is Crew-2, of course, in case you're trying to get some context as to where we are. This is Crew-2 for SpaceX with a couple of NASA astronauts on board, a JAXA, or Japanese astronaut, and also an ESA astronaut from the European Space Agency. And all 4 of them are approaching the International Space Station right now. We can actually see them in their seats, little over-the-shoulder look there. Looking at the screens, heading, they're actually, they should have approached waypoint 0 now, so they were just approaching waypoint 0 as I was getting ready to go live. They should have already reached what's called waypoint 0. They will proceed to waypoint 1, then waypoint 2, and then to the docking. Docking is expected around 49 minutes from now. So, and then keep in mind, This is going to be another one of those streams that goes for a little while. We'll set some expectations because docking is in 49-ish minutes from now. But then hatch opening, it could be anywhere from 1 to 2 hours after docking. The last couple of times, it's been about 2 hours after docking that they actually opened the hatch. It takes a little bit of time. We'll talk about why, but in case you're watching, I will put timestamps in the description below along with all the YouTube chapter stuff in case you want to skip around, jump through. Maybe you just want to watch the docking. I was hoping maybe I could skip around too. No, it's not working. I don't know. We just gotta wait. So, anyways, all right. Well, let's switch over to here. Let's see where everybody's checking in from. Who's up early with me? You guys are all probably, most of you probably middle of the day for you. But it's early here. Oh, man. Let's see. No sleep tonight from Star Andrea watching Crew Dragon. Well, I got some sleep, but I'm sorry if you got no sleep. That was me yesterday. But still exciting stuff. I feel like it's worth it, but hopefully you can get some sleep after this, Star Andrea. Thanks for sticking around with us. Let's see. Inquisitive Dave, can't wait. Anita, one of our awesome moderators. Hello, Nightwalkers. Thanks for staying awake. I see Steven Perez, one of our regulars hanging with us. CTHCBR over on the Twitch channel. Good morning to you. Linda watching over from the UK over on Facebook. Good morning, Linda. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Steven Perez getting in the super chats already. Thanks so much for the support. I'm not even prepared for this. I saw the lobster pop up and I don't even have my super chat screen up. Where is it? let me read your thing so we can get started. And then I'll turn up the NASA stream and we'll see what's happening with that. He said, you're the man, Tori. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And send a second one that's staying up with you, man. I'm in SoCal, Southern California. It's only 1:22 a.m. Yeah, not bad right now. But if you're gonna stick around the hatch opening, that's when you're gonna reach Sleepy Town. Because hatch opening is still probably like 3 hours from now. It's gonna be like, what is that, like 5 a.m. your time, right? 4 a.m., 5 a.m. Yeah, 4. We're expecting hatch opening today at 7:15 a.m. Eastern time. So what's that, 4:15 your time, Southern California? And then we'll have a welcoming ceremony around 7:45 this morning as well. So we got some time. We got 3 hours still until we even get to the docking. But we can see there's the Crew Dragon. You can see the little blinky docking lights right there. We'll get a view of it, much better view of it as it gets closer and closer because we still got 45 minutes to go. But you can see it starts. Docking with the International Space Station is kind of a weird thing, right? It's It's nothing like driving a car, right? You can't just point in the direction you want to go and then go there, because everything in space is orbiting something. So these are both orbiting the Earth. But as you make changes to your orbits, you're changing your elliptical, right? You're not driving in a straight line like you would a car. You're constantly driving in a circle. You're just changing what the shape of that circle is. You're always in a circle. So what they do is they actually start below the space station here, right? So they start below the space station. They're going to swing up to the waypoint, and then they do some station keeping to try to stay there. But if for some reason something were to go wrong, when they swing up here and go to this point, if they don't do the station keeping, they'll just swing back down, back into the rest of their orbit, and the space station's they would miss it, essentially. But that's intentional. They want to make sure that there's no chance of collision with the space station. So they've started below it. Now they're moving up towards waypoint 1, it looks like. We'll have to listen in a little bit and see where they are, because obviously I haven't been listening in yet. Although the volume is... Why is the volume so low? Let's see. Oh, that's why. There we go. That's better. Okay. I had to turn up my volume on the streaming PC. So, all right, let's switch over to your...
Mentioning the size.
Well, we're going to get to them in just a minute. And also, just keep in mind, the timeline today is very flexible, right? So we don't have an exact docking time. This is the planned docking time, which is 43 minutes from now. That could change. They could be early. They could be late. But it looked like they were pretty much right on the money just before I went live. So they seem to be on time and on schedule. We'll see if that holds up. Let's see. Oh, Steven Perez, and you're in beast mode this morning. Thank you so much for the support. Became a Rocket Engineer member, which now will get you access to our behind-the-scenes Discord if you weren't already. Also get you early access to some of the videos I publish here, and also a super chat again. I was a member before, but something happened with my card, so I just did it again now. Well, thank you very much for the support, Steven Perez. Activated the beast mode this morning. You're on fire. Thank you so much. So let's turn up. Let's try to listen in, because it's been like 10 minutes since I listened into the stream, so I'm not sure exactly where they are. Let's listen in. Let's see if we can get some context.
Adjacent to the space station, and it will be moving to be right in front of the docking port.
Right, I just passed the marker waypoint 0.
Actually, I gotta fix something on my camera 1 second. I'm gonna go off screen for 2 seconds.
Space station, where it executed an approach burn using the service section Dracos that helped it to converge with that next waypoint right in front of the station. So now we're at a little more than 310 meters away from the station. As it makes its way up front, it will continue to get slightly closer. Waypoint 1 directly in front of the station is about 220 meters, so it'll get incrementally closer as it makes its way in front of the station.
It's like a magic trick. I'm back. I got my Quindar tones ready to go.
And these views from
I'm gonna try not to abuse those today.
look incredible. I can only imagine what the astronauts on board the station
Look at that
see
view
with their own eyes. That looks amazing.
Let's get the events out of the way here. It's nice when
a lot of time in orbit. Of course,
when we get a docking that's during daytime here. I don't know what they're scheduled for in terms of. Let's pull up the map here real quick, and we'll see. And we'll show you where they are on the map. Sunrise and sunset go by very, very quickly on the International Space Station, because they're traveling around once every 90 minutes. So right now, looks like they're approaching. They just got to sunrise here. So here's our map, our little green dot, which is where the space station is now, which is where the Crew Dragon is, obviously, as well, because they're right next to each other. But they're over the Atlantic Ocean, heading into heading into full daylight here. So they'll be heading, we're almost 24 hours after launch, so we're almost on the exact same trajectory that we were yesterday at launch time. We're just a little bit behind. So each day it gets, it would get a little bit earlier for the closest approach at this point of its orbit. But yeah, we're heading over. We're gonna pass over the UK here shortly. So just to get everybody wants to know, can I see it? You're probably not gonna see it because it's probably like mid-morning for you in the UK, right? It's got to be what time is it? It's like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning in the UK, right? So you're probably not gonna be able to see it. Too much daylight, but it is gonna pass directly over you shortly, which is kind of interesting because you got humans flying overhead, 250 miles up. Then you'll have to convert that to metric probably because a lot of people probably don't use miles. But there's where it is. Again, it started below the space station. It's heading up. I guess it would be like this way, heading up in front of it. We showed yesterday. Can I do this without breaking it? Let's see. Come here, space station. We broke it yesterday. I did fix it. Try to get the space station back. We're here. Don't break it. Easy. Oh.
Just as a reminder,
Okay. Thing's so fragile. This is my Lego space station here. So here it is floating around. Our little crew dragon here. The big stand, the black part, is not part of the space station, obviously, but it would have started. It started way down here, and right now it's swinging up to be in front of it, and then it's going to dock to the forward port here. So you've got your forward port right here on the front, your zenith port up top there. That's where the other Crew Dragon is docked. So we did that relocation before where they basically came out, moved to the top, and then docked on top. So right now, today we're docking to the forward port right here in basically the front of what we call the front of the space station.
From the Japanese side, there's also an exposed pallet there. There it is at the bottom of your screen with additional experiments.
Get over there.
You can sort of see the Dragon out there in the distance.
There. We didn't break it.
The cloud coverage over the North Atlantic Ocean as the Dragon makes its way up to the docking axis.
The arm is back. Yes, I did repair the arm, the Canada arm that we broke yesterday. Everything with this is very slow today. So it's not going to be, we're not going to have hyper speed getting docked. Everything is slow and steady. You want to make sure that everything is good to go coming into the station. Let's see. Do you work in the rocket industry? No, I don't actually. I am a software engineer, so I do have a technical background, but I don't work. I don't work in aerospace. I don't work in the rocket industry at all. I feel like that would be fun, but also very demanding. But yeah, no, I don't. I mean, there's not a whole lot of rocket industry here in the Rochester, New York area, which is where I am. I'm in Rochester, New York. Just there's not a lot of space stuff happening up here, and I kind of like it where I am. But I like to visit. I like to go visit space stuff.
When it starts to move in, it'll pass into the keep out sphere. This is an imaginary line, extends about 180, 185 meters directly in front of the station. And there's new flight rules that come into play when Dragon makes its way inside the keep out sphere. Victor Glover, who's monitoring from the station side, if he sees any anomaly with his data, has the ability to command an abort from the station side. But of course, an abort can be issued from inside Dragon as well, or from the ground.
So most of this docking here
And of
today,
course, Dragon,
I shouldn't say most of it,
as reaches the
the entire docking, if everything goes well, will be autonomous. Nobody's touching any controls, nobody's driving it or steering it or anything like that. It's completely autonomous, automatic. The onboard computers are actually running the docking sequence. Everybody's monitoring it. So you've got Victor Glover, one of the astronauts from Crew-2, that is monitoring it from inside the space station. And then obviously the 4 astronauts on board the capsule will be monitoring it as well. Primarily Shane Kimbrough and Megan MacArthur They're the commander and pilots. They're the ones that are right there in front of the controls. The other two, which are mission specialists, that's Aki Hoshide from JAXA, the Japanese Space Agency, and Thomas Pesquet from the European Space Agency. Those are the two mission specialists on the outside seats. You heard a beep. Beep and a boop.
All right, Shane, we are currently tracking the sun's relative position and how that is impacting our ability to monitor the retroreflectors with the Dragon Eyes. We are going to make an assessment at approximately 110 meters to see if the sun's position will impact the Dragon Eye convergence. If we deem that it might impact Dragon Eye convergence, ground is going to command a hold. However, if at 110 meters, it is early enough where this will not be an issue, it will not impact approach 1, and Dragon will continue to waypoint 2.
Wake up at all, thanks.
Okay, so what you just heard from there, first of all, down on the Earth, these beautiful shots. The International Space Station is just passing over Ireland. The body you see there is the United Kingdom. We're passing over
just passing
Europe,
over, like
we're
we
about
said.
to pass over the Netherlands and Germany as well. The calls you heard as we pass over.
Here's our map again.
The,
Look how far we
these
traveled
parts
just in those
of
few
Europe.
minutes.
The sun itself will come up and behind the International Space Station.
On the big loop. Monitor approach per step 1 of 1.104. Crew Dragon approach and retreat monitoring.
Station copies and work.
All right, and that was Kathy Bolt, Capcom and Mission Control Houston. Victor Glover aboard the International Space Station, confirming he's standing by, monitoring Dragon's approach. So he'll be looking at the same telemetry that the ground teams are, and the crew aboard Dragon as well. Now, the call you heard from the core was once Dragon makes its way past waypoint 1, 220 meters in front of the station.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Expect reconfiguration of the C2V2 return link shortly.
Never copy.
All right, so once Dragon makes its way inside waypoint 1, the 220-meter mark, crosses into the keep-out sphere, the ground teams will do an assessment at about 110 meters. See the position of the sun. The sun might be a little bit too far behind the space station at the time and interfere with some of the optical cameras, the optical equipment, navigation equipment, the Dragon Eyes. So they'll do an assessment and may issue a hold if necessary, depending on the position of the sun and how they're interfering or how they affect the Dragon Eyes. Also, they're going to check the C2V2 common communication for visiting vehicles. There's a link between the two spacecraft now. There's a C2V2 on Dragon and also on the International Space Station that provides telemetry. A lot of that telemetry is what Victor Glover aboard the station is monitoring using his rendezvous proximity operations panel.
Yeah, so as we get through the approach here, they were not expected to hold at waypoint 1. Generally, they would, once they get to waypoint 1, they just cruise on through, head into waypoint 2. Waypoint 2 is really that's the final stop. That's really, really close. It's only 20 meters away from the space station. Waypoint 1 starts at 220 meters away, and then waypoint 0 is 400 meters away? 400 meters for waypoint 0. So we've already passed that. We're heading to the 220 meter points, so it's gonna be 220 meters in front of the station there, and then waypoint 2 is basically when you're just 60 meters away, right in front of it, heading in for docking. Usually they proceed right through waypoint 1, but it sounds like the sun may be a bit of an issue today, so they may hold. Again, the space station travels really, really quickly, so if they do hold, it would be a pretty quick hold. They wouldn't have to stick around for very long, I would expect, because the sun's position would change pretty quickly. I'll try to get a bunch of the terms that they throw out. They just talked about the C2V2. That's the Common Communication System for Visiting Vehicles. That's the C2 Common Communication for V2, which is visiting vehicles. It's just a radio communication system. And then they'll talk a lot today about the Big Loop. The Big Loop is basically just a communications loop or interconnect between it's basically just including the Dragon, the space station, Mission Control Houston, Mission Control Hawthorne. It's including everybody in. So you could have like the Dragon can communicate with the ground directly without the space station hearing. But if most of the communications, especially when they're this close to the International Space Station, is going to be on the Big Loop, so that everybody's is aware of what's happening, so that station's hearing it, Dragon's hearing it, Houston, Hawthorne, everybody's in on what's happening. Where's our... Oh, you can't see it because the events list is in the way. I guess we'll get that out of the way.
270
and they switch views on me.
closing.
So you can see right here on their display panel here.
Converge with waypoint 1 directly in front of the International Space Station in less than 5 minutes. You can see the views right over the shoulders of Commander.
I was hoping they were going to
Shane
stay
Kimbrough
there. I
and
was going to
pilot
talk about
Megan
that in a minute.
MacArthur. Kimbrough on the left, MacArthur on the right from that view.
While docking to the station, how is the contact energy stabilized? So the station is going to have like station keeping thrusters, but it's a very, very gentle, slow approach. So there's not a ton of energy imparted, right? So if you've ever played the docking simulator from SpaceX, do I have that up? I thought I had that up. Where is it? I do have it up right here. So if you've ever played the docking simulator, if you want to try this out for yourself, the docking simulator, it's iss-sim.spacex.com. I think, do I have text that says that? Right here. Oh, wow, that's huge. Let's see. Let's make it smaller. We'll put it right here. iss-sim.spacex.com. Put that right down there in the corner. And you can try this out. Try this out for yourself and try your hand at docking to the International Space Station. Now, this is obviously a manual docking procedure, not like what's happening on the Crew Dragon right now, which is completely automatic. But you could try manual docking just to see how it works. I would recommend you can use there's buttons on the screen here. You can use these buttons if you want, but I don't recommend that. I would recommend using the keyboard shortcuts. So you can use the WASD keyboard shortcuts. It's like WASD, I think Q and E work, and then you can also use a number pad on the keyboard. But basically, the key to this, if you've ever tried this in the past, the key is you have to go really, really slowly. If you don't go really slowly, you're going to have issues. So you got to kind of isolate your variables here, which is each of your axes and your roll, pitch, and yaw. You got to kind of isolate everything and just try to null them out one at a time. Get them all to 0. So you see the numbers that are around here. So right now I'm adjusting roll, which is the number at the top, trying to get that to 0 degrees. Once I hit 0 degrees with that, or somewhere close to 0. You got to be within 0.2 degrees. So once I do that, then I would adjust yaw to get our yaw over this direction. See that at the bottom of the screen. And then, oops. See, that's what I was going to see. This is what happens if you try to go too fast. And then I would adjust pitch, which is the number on the right of the screen. Get these all zeroed out. But the idea would be that once you get everything lined up, then you can start approaching the station.
On the Big Loop, approach 1 and soft capture ring extension will begin shortly. Dragon will continue to waypoint 2 with the additional lighting assessment occurring at 110 meters, as previously noted. For awareness, if sunlight results in the loss of the Dragon Eye geofilters, Dragon will autonomously retreat back to waypoint 1, remaining on closed-loop control using the time-of-flight filters. How copy?
Dragon, are you there?
We are in a handover period, so we may have missed a call as we were switching from TDRS satellites. We're looking at about 20 seconds to go until we converge with waypoint 1. There's going to be an approach burn maneuver using the Draco thrusters. That's called approach 1, and that'll move Dragon from right in front of the docking axis, 220 meters away, and start moving in, closing in to waypoint 2, just 20.
So I was hoping Dragon didn't respond. We're hoping we were going to hear from them. But anyways, you can see we're getting the docking here. So I see people already that are like, you are way off. Yeah, well, what we just kind of got situated was just we're isolating all these variables. Roll, pitch, yaw. Those are all zeroed out now. And those are good to go. Now we're going to do the translating. So now we're translating to the right. We'll have to translate down just a bit, and then we'll translate forward. So we're getting all these zeroed out before we even approach the station. So we're not even approaching yet. We're just trying to get lined up at this point. So now these are the small, tiny numbers that are on the left side. Oh, I went too far. See, this is what happens if you go too fast. Because you can't just throw on the brakes.
SpaceX has you loud and clear on the big loop. How me?
They're back.
Loud and clear. Your last call, we copied most of it, but you cut out towards the end there. I'm not sure if there's anything important for us.
Copy. I'm going to repeat the end of the call. We did have a TDRS handover. Just for awareness, following the lighting assessment, if we continue but sunlight results in a loss of the Dragon Eye geofilters, Dragon Eye will autonomously retreat back to waypoint 1, still on closed loop control using the time of flight filters. How copy?
Okay, we copied all. Thank you very much for repeating.
No problem, Shane. And for awareness, the C2V2 link reconfiguration has been completed.
Copy, C2V2 complete.
And there, the core just reiterated.
So that's kind of interesting. It looks like if sunlight's going to be an issue today, and the sunlight is no good, then Dragon would autonomously abort the docking, which is exactly what we would want to have happen. They would abort the docking, retreat back to waypoint 1. It sounds like that's the 220 meters away from the station. So, but what's happening here at the moment on the docking simulator is that we've nulled out all these different parameters. You can see roll and yaw, they're within 0.1%, but now I'm approaching the station now. So we're 130 meters away from the station. On approach, we would actually be, this is inside of waypoint 1. We haven't reached waypoint 2 yet. You can see we're drifting a little bit. Got to try to correct this. And we're watching the small, itty-bitty tiny numbers that are right here on the left side, trying to keep these close to 0. You'd also notice right now I'm going way too fast. Right down here, we're watching the rate. We want that to be really, really slow. And you can see it's red right now. It's basically telling me to slow down. We're going way too fast. What we're going to try to go quickly just for the purposes of the demonstration. Because now we're 75 meters away. We probably ought to slow up just a touch. do have to adjust.
Camera view here, you can really see the detail.
I'm gonna adjust our roll a touch. Get that back down to 0.
Bulkhead thrusters.
Probably should slow down even more because we're still going kind of fast.
The vehicle.
We're 50 meters away.
That's right. We'll get even better views as it makes its way even closer to make contact and capture.
But this is the thing, like you're
Space station.
in space, like little tiny movements
We may
will move your ship all over the place, and you have like this has got to be really, really precise
2:10
coming into dock.
a.m. Pacific time.
Oh, you want to go this way?
It might be at
Slow it down.
closer to 2:07 p.m.
See, and then once you come in close, you got to have a nice slow approach. The Dragon ends up docking at like 0.2 meters per second. Very, very slow. So this is when we hear waypoint 2. This is right here. This is the distance they're at. That's 20 meters. Waypoint 2. This is where they may hold for just a touch, kind of evaluate. Do they want to approach? And then once they hit, if they give the go-ahead,
Station
at this point they would be about 5 minutes away from docking. Hopefully I can do it a little faster than that.
The detail there, and as you mentioned, the Crew-1
We're still kind of coming in a little fast.
Station on the big loop. Procedure review complete, ready for docking.
Houston copies.
All right, that was confirmation from Victor Glover aboard the International Space Station.
There we go. Now so there, it looks like space station's ready for docking. Now we're
Capture ring itself is fully extended,
coming into it.
15 meters and closing.
6 meters away here on the simulator. Let's see if we can park this thing. This is where we're kind of hard to keep it centered. Right here on the green dot, 4 meters,
looking at your screen.
3.5.
We are going to be docking with is directly in the
Oh,
middle
oh,
of the
easy, easy,
circular
easy,
area on the International Space
easy, easy. Get it in there, 1.5 meters. Oh, easy. Keep it in here, 0.5 meter. Uh-oh, we're coming in fast. Oh.
Station Houston on 2 for Mike.
Did we do it? Success! Woo! It's a little...
Strange configurations on the video, and we would like to close and restart that. We can take care of that from the ground if you would like. Absolutely. If you're seeing nominal, that works for us.
We didn't hear
Okay,
the
so
response.
Victor Glover aboard the station
Copy,
still
we'll
has
put that in work.
And Dragon, SpaceX,
A lot of beeps.
soft capture ring extension is complete. Additionally, we did beat the sunlight for the Dragon Eye filters, so we are not going to command a hold.
All right, that's good.
Ever copies off.
Look at that. You can see the other Crew Dragon right up on top
All
on
right,
the
so
zenith
that's
port.
great
That looks
news.
kind of cool.
We passed the 110-meter checkpoint that the ground operators were referencing, making sure the sun wasn't interfering with the optical sensors, the Dragon Eye, that are part of the guidance and navigation and control system aboard Dragon. We passed that check mark. We're good to go. We beat the sun there. So we're now inside 80 meters and closing. Dragon will pause at 20 meters. That's designated as waypoint 2 to conduct a go, no-go poll for the readiness on both the Dragon side and the International Space Station side, making sure everyone is good for docking. If we are go, we expect to dock during this pass over an orbital daytime,
Look at that.
expected in less than 20 minutes.
That's so awesome looking, these views that we get. You'll see some of the space station cameras are in rough shape. A lot of dead pixels on some of the space station cameras. We'll see that a little bit later. Space a pretty harsh environment for
you can see a lot of the visiting
digital
vehicles
cameras.
on board station. At the bottom is a Russian Soyuz vehicle that delivered crew to the International Space Station.
Yeah, we see you got Soyuz down here at
Just
the
in front
bottom.
of that,
The other
or
Crew
actually,
Dragon up
above
top
that
there.
is the Crew Dragon Resilience, docked to the Zenith port. Once Crew Dragon Endeavour arrives, there will be 2 Crew Dragons attached to the space station.
It's kind of crazy. And that one's coming back. Crew Dragon Resilience from Crew
And this
1.
view from
Coming
Crew
back next week,
Dragon,
the
looking
28th.
at
Actually,
the
only in like 4 days.
Space Station. It looks like it's this very slow and steady movement, but in reality, they're moving at 17,500 miles per hour.
The rendezvous operations are absolutely incredible. You can sort of see the Northrop Grumman Cygnus cargo craft as well. Some of the Ultraflex solar arrays coming into view a little bit clearly.
So we'd be expecting waypoint 2 in about 4 minutes from now.
Again, you
But
can see that Crew 1.
Again, the timeline is very, very flexible. This is not like a launch. They don't have to hit a certain specific time to actually dock. They can take their time. They can move. They can adjust. They can hold. They can do all kinds of things. We got lots of time. But if it's on schedule for today, they would be docking in 14 minutes.
The view right there was truly a representation truly of an international cooperation there. The U.S.-built Node 2 is where the Dragon will be docking today. It was flanked
kind of a
by
cool
the
view.
European Columbus module and the Japanese
SpaceX
Gem.
Endeavour on the big loop, visors down.
SpaceX copies. Visors are down. We may enter into a hold at waypoint 2. We are still awaiting ground go for final approach.
Endeavour copies.
It's kind of a cool view here. I don't remember seeing this view before. I don't know what. Maybe we did. Maybe the camera's just adjusted differently than it was in the past.
This camera view is pretty incredible here from the International Space Station. Watching Crew Dragon as it is slowly approaching.
So, Star Andrea said that would be a great screenshot. Yeah, I hope somebody. I mean, you could take a screenshot. Don't get me in the screenshot. Take the screenshot from NASA. But hopefully NASA posts a lot of photos during this. Like part of one of the onboard astronauts' jobs is to actually take photos.
Dragon holding at waypoint 2. It's at about 20 meters right in front of the docking axis.
So it sounds like we are at waypoint 2, which is about 2 minutes earlier than expected, but that's okay. Like I said, everything kind of is very flexible.
And if you're just now joining us, we are just waiting for a confirmation for go for docking. Currently holding Dragon at waypoint 2. And again, it looks like Dragon is just paused and not even moving, but again, as we just mentioned, both the space station and Crew Dragon are actually moving at approximately 17,500 miles per hour. So it's pretty incredible how it can hold these speeds so that it looks like they are just completely paused.
That's right. Teams on the ground, both from the station side, the Mission Control Houston and Mission Control Hawthorne, just checking and verifying all systems are go to proceed with docking.
So we're just waiting on the go to approach. Tom's wants to know how long will they stay in the Dragon before opening the hatches. It's generally going to be between 1 and 2 hours. The last couple of times it's been about 2 hours. So after docking,
the soft capture.
After docking, we have about 2 hours before they'll actually open the Dragon hatch. So they're not expected to open the hatch until 7:15 a.m. Eastern time, which would be about 2 hours. 2 hours after soft capture docking. So there will be soft capture, which is the initial grasp that it has on the space station. Then they will do hard capture, where these big hooks basically pull it in and secure the connection and hold it tight. That will be hard capture. Once they do hard capture, then they are officially docked. They're attached. They will be docked with soft capture. They will be connected to the structure, but not a secure final connection. You can't stay in that configuration. Why so long? Yeah, so the biggest reason is pressurization, equalizing the pressure. So you've got the vehicle itself is going to connect to the International Docking Adapter, which is just exposed to space, right? So it docks there, and then you have this space in between. So you've got, if this is the space station over here, you've got a hatch which would be here, but then there's nothing here. It's just open to space. So this has got to connect, sit right there, and then you have this space in between called the vestibule, and that has to be pressurized, which takes a long time. This is something movies get wrong very frequently. So I said yesterday I've been watching the TV series For All Mankind, which is on Apple TV, which is not sponsored, but it's actually really good. I kind of like it. But one of the things that always bothers me is they'll come in from they'll come in from space or something like that, and then they want to equalize pressure so they can take off their suits, and they'll just they just push a button. They'll be like, okay, good, I can take my helmet off. It takes way longer than that. You can't just, it's not just, okay.
An endeavor on the big loop. Ike, we are not able to recover that video for the D2DM, so you can close that window, and we should be ready to press into final approach shortly.
Station copies.
I don't know what D2DM is.
You did hear that call out speak out to Ike. Ike is actually referring to Victor Glover. That is just his nickname.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Ground is now go for final approach. Upon confirmation of crew readiness for final approach, we will enable the approach. Please confirm crew readiness, and a reminder, once Dragon is inside the crew hands-off point, retreat and breakout are no longer permitted.
That's called CHOP. You'll hear them call out CHOP about 30 seconds prior to docking.
Crew is ready for final approach.
Crew is ready. So it looks like we may be maybe like 2 minutes early. Depends on when they actually start.
And got some good words that the crew is ready for the docking to the International Space Station. They no longer will have control of any aborts. If there is an abort needed, it will have to be done by the Dragon autonomously.
And on the big loop, monitor per steps 3 and 4 and 1.104.
Station copy.
Again, we are now moving into the CHOP, which is the crew hands-off point. As I was mentioning earlier, if there is an abort, it will need to be done autonomously by Dragon.
All right, we did get confirmation. Approach 2 has been initiated. So Dragon now making its way inside the 20-meter hold point at about 18 meters and closing. Final approach of Endeavour to dock with the International Space Station has started. Docking expected in about 3.5 minutes from now.
3.5 minutes. All right, so that's we're gonna adjust the timeline just a touch. It should be something a little closer to this. So it looks like they're gonna be. Looks like they're gonna be a little bit early. Axel Perez, hey, thanks for the super chat. Axel says, why don't they put a camera in the Dragon Crew? They do have the cameras on there. We've been seeing inside the crew capsule. They're not really showing it to us.
See on your screen.
They're not showing it to us right now. They should show us the actual docking camera itself as we get a little bit closer. Usually they give us a view of the docking camera. But this camera's on the space station. But we have seen some views inside with the crew. We'll probably see a view from the actual docking camera.
That's on the forward end of the International Space Station, that international docking adapter where Crew Dragon Endeavour has docked once before.
The docking is basically behind that little module that sticks up on the front of the space station there. We should be about 2 minutes away now. You'll hear them call out CHOP. That's the crew hands-off point. At that point, the crew can't...
Copy, 10 meters.
What that call out was Crew Dragon is just 10 meters away from the International Space Station as it continues its approach for docking.
So anyways, at the CHOP or crew hands-off point, the crew can't command an abort. And that's just so they don't damage the space station, really.
Docking will occur in two phases. There will be a soft capture followed by a hard capture, and what that hard capture means is 12 physical hooks will connect the Dragon to the space station.
Great views. Dragon just 6 meters away as the station and Dragon fly in tandem 263 statute miles over the South Indian Ocean in the background.
5 meters.
We're 5
meters.
and closing.
Copy, 5 meters.
So they're going it's about 5 meters per minute,
Really start
which
to
is
see the detail on Dragon there.
0.08 meters per second. Nice and slow.
On docking.
That's right, 2.5 meters, 30 seconds. Crew hands off.
That's
point.
CHOP right there. Should be coming up. Dock it. Park it. That's it, right there, soft capture.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop, soft capture confirmed.
There we go. We're attached. They didn't show us the docking view that time.
Copy, soft capture confirmed.
Great news with that call out. That soft capture is confirmed.
So this is a very
That's right, that soft capture time 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 4:08 a.m. Eastern.
Yep, so they're
Station and
2 minutes early.
Connected 264 statute miles over the South Indian Ocean. Endeavour connected to International Space Station for the second time.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. Second time this vehicle's attached to the space station.
Attached.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop, soft capture ring retraction in progress.
That's good. The ring retraction is happening. Ring retraction happening as expected.
There it is.
And after the ring retracts, 12 hooks will latch, 6 at a time, to perform a hard capture, and will officially mate Dragon to the International Space Station.
Now they're still they're in their suits, full suits, visors down. Basically, anytime they're in some of these more riskier parts of the mission, which is, you know, you're approaching another vehicle, that's a risky thing. Like if something were to happen, they were to collide, you could have depressurization. So they're in their full suits, visors down, locked, and everything ready for a depressurization event. Obviously, we don't want that at all, but once they get usually that first ring retraction for the soft capture rings, they'll be able to open their visors. After hard capture, they'll be able to take off their suits completely. So that's part of the post docking procedure before they actually get to hatch opening. But we had mentioned that hatch opening takes a long time, mostly for leak checks, pressurization, so they want to make sure that they have a good seal, that they can actually pressurize that vestibule area.
Soft capture ring retraction does take some time. It is continuing at its anticipated speed. Things are looking good.
Usually it takes about...
And this is the first in a series of steps to officially mate Dragon to the station.
About 4 minutes after docking is when we would expect the ring retraction to be completed. Bob says, look at that old tech next to new tech. Actually, what you're seeing kind of new tech next to new tech, because what you're seeing is the Crew Dragon, obviously, which is relatively new. But this thing right here, this is the International Docking Adapter, also pretty much brand new. So the International Docking Adapter is very new. And that's this whole section right here is the International Docking Adapter. Now, maybe here, we can't really see it, but here... that's where kind of the older part of the station starts, but this part is relatively new.
Call out for soft capture confirmed at 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 4:08 a.m. Eastern time. Station and Dragon were 264 statute miles over the South Indian Ocean at the time of contact and capture. We're still in the process of retracting the soft capture ring and anticipating proceeding with the hard capture sequence, where 12 hooks will drive to officially mate Dragon with the International Space Station's International Docking Adapter at the forward port. Crew Dragon Endeavour docked to that forward port for the second time.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Ring retraction is complete. Docking sequence is holding for MCS reconfiguration.
MCS, that's the motion control system.
Endeavour copies off.
I saw a couple people, so there were a couple questions I saw go by. Hold on, there was one a little ways back. Let me back up a little bit. From David James. What if they had soft docked to the ISS and there was an emergency of some sort and they needed to get in ASAP? What's the fastest they could possibly do it again? Well, I think you're mixing a couple things today. If they're soft docked, they're going to be in the vehicle. They can't get out of the vehicle until they're hard docked. So from soft docking to departure is usually a couple minutes, like 5 minutes or so. I imagine.
And station MCS is configured, proceeding with hook driving.
So hook driving, this is the hard capture hooks now.
Endeavour copies. Station copies.
Great timing there. This is now
so I don't know. I'm sure they have procedures for emergency departure to go faster if they really needed to. But a normal departure, it takes about from soft capture, it would take probably 5 minutes to depart. From hard capture, if you're already in the vehicle and depressurized, it would take probably 15 minutes to depart. But the longest portion, and what we're going to spend the majority of the time waiting for today, is is pressurizing the vestibule, equalizing that pressure between the space station and the Dragon. So that portion takes a really, really long time. Now, could they basically kind of bypass that, or just ignore it? And if they're not concerned, if they really, really had a safety event, I don't know. I don't know what their emergency procedures would be, but yeah, it would be. Hopefully, we never have to find that out. I'm sure they have emergency procedures to speed that up a little bit, but. Let's see. Somebody asked, again, this common question, why does it take the Crew Dragon so long to reach the ISS compared to the Soyuz? I made a whole video about that. There's a video on our YouTube channel that explains why the Soyuz gets there faster than the Crew Dragon. So I recommend watching that. It's one of my featured videos right on the homepage. If you go to my YouTube channel, there's a video that says, it's like Soyuz versus Crew Dragon. Why does Crew Dragon take so long? So I do have a whole video about that, but that's a pretty common question. The Crew Dragon can go faster, so this was 23 hours from launch to docking, but they can do it within a couple of hours. Actually, the last mission, Crew-1, the original launch date, the first launch date from Crew-1, I went back and looked at it yesterday after a bunch of people asked me that question. But the original launch date for Crew-1, they ended up delaying it by 24 hours. But the original launch date, if they had hit that, would have put the rendezvous time at only 8 hours. So much shorter. They can do it shorter. It's just it all depends on, there's orbital mechanics involved. There's, the rendezvous planning. They have to plan for lighting conditions. There's a whole bunch of things. Definitely check out that video. It explains kind of all the considerations that go into play, but it can go faster. The question is, like, what are your priorities? Like, do you want to prioritize? Do you want to prioritize speed, or do you want to prioritize? If you prioritize speed, that makes scheduling very, very difficult. Sometimes it's better to just have a flexible schedule, and you can just kind of launch when you're ready to launch, and you'll get there when you get there. I mean, it's not really. Are we in a race? Like, why do we need to get there faster? What's the big hurry? They're gonna be there for 6 months. Whether it takes them 8 hours or 20 hours to get there. What's the difference?
For hard capture to complete. As a reminder, after hard capture,
let's see what else we had. KDB again. Hey, thanks KDB for the chat. Dad is up and at it. Well, KDB's from Australia, so right, I think so. That's probably. I mean, it's probably no big deal to be up. But Dad says Dad's crying. Dad's excited. Says this is really beautiful. I agree, Dad. This is I love seeing this. We now have 2 Crew Dragons docked to the International Space Station at the same time. There are now 10. Is it 10 or 11 astronauts? Let's see, what do we have? We have six Americans, right? So let's do our 6 plus. We have 2 Japanese astronauts now. We have 1 ESA astronaut. And we have how many Russians? 2 Russians? 3 Russians. No, that would be 12. Can't be that. It's got to be 2 Russians. So that would be 11 astronauts, right? By my scientific calculator math. Listen, it's 5 in the morning. You want me to do math in my head? Not happening.
Dragon SpaceX on the big loop. Hard capture is complete. You are go to open visors.
Oh, there we go. Hard capture complete.
Copy, hard capture complete. Opening visors.
+1 penguin.
Right. Crew Dragon Endeavour officially made it to the International Space Station. That dynamic period of the docking phase is complete. The crew inside Dragon have been wearing their suits just as an extra precaution, but they can go ahead and pull up their visors. It's going to be some time until the hatches themselves are open between Dragon and the International Space Station. Still some things to configure on that side. The vestibule.
Interesting that they didn't open their visors until hard capture is complete, because last time around, I went back yesterday when I was preparing this timeline. So usually the way I prepare that timeline there is an official NASA timeline that they put out that has some of these events. And so I base a lot of the events on the timeline from...
We are so excited to have you aboard.
Thanks, Shannon. We're glad to be here. We'll see you all in a few minutes.
By a few minutes, he means like 2 hours.
International Space Station Commander Shannon Walker welcoming the crew. Now Crew-2 officially made it to the International Space Station. Again, it's going to be some time until they come in, but the commander of the International Space Station welcoming 4 new crew members for her expedition on board here shortly.
Yeah, so it looks like the number's 11. Bunch of people getting on my
so
math.
Again, there's a series of steps here.
Yeah, because we got 2 Crew Dragons now with 4 astronauts. It'll be 8 plus the Soyuz. That's another 3. So yeah, there'll be 11 astronauts.
Contact and capture occurring at 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 5:08 a.m. Eastern. We have a confirmed hard capture. The umbilical is in motion to connect the station to the Dragon and provide data and power and communication through that umbilical, so it no longer has to rely on its own systems. Everything's looking good for that vehicle. It's going to be some time again until we repressurize the vestibule and get those hatches open between the Dragon and the International Space Station. It'll be the crew inside the station getting that ready to be opened.
Endeavour SpaceX
Much beeping.
docking sequence is complete. Welcome to the ISS.
Here we are.
Thank you, SpaceX. Great to be here.
And some more official words that
Docking
is
complete.
complete.
They're there.
The crew must
Officially
be so excited
docked.
to finally have arrived at the space station. Again, there is some more steps that they will need to complete and some checks before they can ingress on the space station.
Yeah, so at this point, this is the longest part of the wait here now waiting for hatch opening, because you get excited, you're like, hey, we're there. But it's gonna take a while before they can actually open the hatch. So we're expecting it's probably at least an hour and about an hour. Or 2 hours, I mean. Sorry, I was going to say an hour and 50 minutes. But it's about 2 hours from now. A little less than 2 hours from now is when we're expecting hatch opening.
Procedure 4.012.
Copy, that's in work.
So again, it'll take some time. The crew will begin doffing or taking off their suits. It'll be some time to repressurize the vestibule. Station side, astronauts on the station side will configure the hatch, getting ready to open that up.
Now they can take their suits off, so now they're suit doffing, which I'm surprised they're actually showing us. Usually they put the camera, they take the cameras off when they're obviously they're getting out of their suits. They're gonna see they're gonna be in undergarments here in a minute. But there we go. So they get rid of the cameras. All right, so we've got some time here. Let's grab a couple of questions. See what everybody's talking about. Do they have guns on the ISS? No, there's no guns on the ISS. Why would there be guns on the ISS? A lot of people asking about the beeping. The beeping is called Quindar tones. That's this sound. We set this up yesterday. Beep. They're slightly different here. I think one of our moderators, Time Waster, looked it up yesterday. Said they're about 300 hertz difference in tones. This is the open and the closed tone. Way back in the day, like in the Apollo, Mercury, Gemini era, those Quindar tones were used to open and activate devices and channels like during communication. I think it was mostly used for recording purposes, like when they wanted to record, when they wanted to make sure that all their audio was recorded, like communications were being routed all around the world and things like that. And so before people started talking, you'd get a beep, the devices would start recording their audio, and then when they finished talking, you'd get the next beep and it would stop recording. It could also open and close communication channels, I think, as well. But yeah, so that it served a big purpose way back in the day to like a very real operational purpose. Now it's mostly a convenience thing. Like now they could do away with it, because they could just open the radio. Like now we have digital capabilities. We can record things. We can do voice activated stuff. We've got, all kinds of memory buffers and stuff like that. Like we could do voice activated recording and then just back up a couple of seconds and keep whatever's in the memory buffer. All that kind of stuff we could do, but it's...
We have the same thing.
You're hearing the crew inside Endeavour go through their procedures. One of the first things they're ready to do is take off those suits. They had to wear it through several of the operations.
So finishing up on the Quindar tones there. Yeah, now they keep it around mostly as kind of a convenience thing, right? So it's actually, it turns out it's actually kind of nice to have that beeping, because even as we're listening here, like, we know that the crew or mission control is about to start talking when we hear, and then we're like, oh, time to listen. And then we know, all right, they're done talking. And the mission control and the astronauts use that as well. Like, they may be doing their thing, not expecting to talk to somebody, and then all of a sudden, they're like, oh, time to listen to something. Listen to what the transmission was, and then they know that the person's done talking and there's no more coming. So that's primarily what it's used now, is just kind of an indicator that somebody's talking. I'm told, I think Nomadic had mentioned it yesterday, that that there may also be data packets included in that, which would make sense, especially now that a lot of the communications are digital. There may be a data packet in there as well. Like when that channel opens up, it may not only tell you like, hey, somebody's about to talk, but there may be some additional information in there, like which microphone is being keyed, who the person is that's talking, like if they're using their in-suit communication, like when they activate their comms, they may be able to see that in mission control, like, all right, this microphone that just got activated, like not only, hey, it's time to listen, but the microphone that got activated is coming from Thomas Pesquet, or this is coming from Shane Kimbrough, or Megan MacArthur, or Aki Hoshide. Might as well, we would throw them all in there. So it may ID the actual microphone that's being activated. If it's just the general comms, because they also have like a communication mic that's just general. I would imagine it's just going to ID the general mic. But yeah, so that's what all the beeps and the boops are for. How does NASA decide to use Dragon or Starliner once both are online? How many crewed missions have been bought so far by NASA? I think the original contract was 6 missions each. So SpaceX is only contracted to do 6 missions, and Starliner is supposed to do 6 missions. The real curious part is going to be what happens. So this is already like, I think that's 6 operational missions. So this is already operational mission 2 for SpaceX, and obviously Starliner is on a big 0. So I guess the interesting thing is going to be what happened. So by the time, let's assume Starliner is now scheduled to redo their uncrewed test in like August-September timeframe. So it turns out they're under a 1.5 year delay after their last whoopsie on on the last test flight. So a year and a half later, they're going to redo the test flights, which means their first crewed mission, Starliner 1, is going to, it's actually, what is it, CFT1, Crewed Flight Test 1. That would be like the Demo 2 mission. It's not even operational. It's their first crewed test flight. Wouldn't be until like the end of the year, maybe beginning of 2022. And at that point, SpaceX will have already flown Crew-3. So, and then you probably have a couple of months before they do an operational mission, which means Crew-4 will probably have flown. So by the time Starliner flies their first operational mission, SpaceX will be done with 4. And they're only contracted to do 6. So I don't know. The interesting thing will be like, well, SpaceX is going to finish up their 6 missions. Like, I doubt they're going to be like, okay, SpaceX, well, now you just sit on the sidelines. You know, we're going to let Starliner just do their 6 missions. I kind of doubt that's the case, but SpaceX is going to need another contract for more missions. So I imagine they will just get a contract for just SpaceX to continue with their operational missions. I don't know. I'll be interested to see what happens towards the end of SpaceX's contract there. I mean, when those contracts were awarded, they well, SpaceX was not looked at very highly. Like, I think most people were like, yeah, Starliner is going to be the go-to. You know, they're the space company. They know Boeing knows how to make all their aerospace stuff. Like, they're the go-to. But we'll also throw SpaceX in the mix so we have something else. Turns out SpaceX is doing pretty well. Let's see. There's another bathroom question from Jordan. How do astronauts go to the bathroom while on Dragon from Earth to the ISS? The Crew Dragon has a toilet. And matter of fact, I made a video about that. There's an entire video on my channel about the Crew Dragon toilet. So everybody's curious about the bathroom capabilities on Crew Dragon. And so I did make a video about that. Check it out on my channel about the Crew Dragon toilet. There is a bathroom on board Crew Dragon. They don't have to hold it for 24 hours. They don't have to wear diapers for 24 hours.
On 2, on the big loop, you are go to pick up in Ingress Part 1, Step 1. Note that the pre-ingress ventilation in Step 1.6 is not required.
Okay, picking up Step 1 and 1.6 not required.
Dragon SpaceX, no response required, but ISS power connection has been established.
There you go. So Victor Glover on the International Space Station side already going through his procedures to get the hatches configured for ingress, essentially supporting the opening of the hatches, repressurizing in the vestibule. There's a lot to happen before we can open up the hatch and welcome the crew on the inside. The umbilical has been fully extended, and we just got confirmation that Dragon is drawing power from the International Space Station, so the solar arrays on the station providing power downstream to the Dragon. Dragon no longer needing to rely on its power. That officially confirmed. It will again take some time until the Dragon hatches are open. Dragon and Space Station hatches are open. And we've noticed for the past 2 times that Crew Dragons have docked to the station. The past 2 times being when Crew was aboard for Demo 2 and for Crew 1. We did notice that the crew inside Dragon took some time before to get themselves situated, make sure everything on the Dragon side was configured before they left it and entered into the International Space Station. We should see celebratory hugs from the crew on board as they make their way one at a time. All
right, we'll turn those down. We'll grab a couple of other
until they
grab a couple of other questions.
Crew-1 astronauts aboard the International Space Station. Shannon Walker handing over.
We answered the bathroom question. Yeah, definitely check that out. When is Russia stopping support for the ISS? I think they just announced that in 2025, they're going to exit the International Space Station. So that's not too far off. The International Space Station is getting kind of old. Question is really going to be like, at what point do you say it's too old and we're not going to keep going with it? I mean, it still does provide some valuable opportunity to perform science in microgravity. I mean, I think until we have a better option, I don't know. I don't know when we abandon it, stop paying for it. I guess, you know, we kind of need a better option.
Crew Dragon Endeavour is docked to the International Space Station as we speak.
Yeah, a lot of people talking about Boeing Starliner and the fact that they
As Crew-2 are preparing.
let's see, let's flip-flop these. We'll put these like this.
Procedures here.
Boeing Starliner and how they're behind. I mean, Boeing, like the Starliner, in the end, like once they get it together, I'm confident they'll get it together. I think like we have nothing against. I have nothing against Starliner. I would like to see Starliner in operation. I do think it's nice to have some redundancy. As much as I love SpaceX.
On the big loop, node 2, forward hatch is open.
And Ike, we copy, and you are go to continue through step 2, pressurizing vestibule.
So that's the
Continue through step 2.
The node 2 forward hatch. There's going to be 3 hatches that open today. That's the PMA hatch that's on my event list. Looks like they're a couple minutes ahead,
to get those,
which is good.
2 hatches open. As you can hear, that communication between Victor Glover on board the station with the ground team helping him out with the procedures.
That first hatch.
But again, that the longest portion today is going to be pressurization. That's going to take a while. But what were we saying? Oh, redundancy. I think redundancy is important. As much as I love SpaceX,
Reference procedure 4.400 for monitoring vestibule pressurization.
Copy 4.400 for vestibule depress.
So now that node 2 forward hatch is open, Victor Glover inside the pressurized mating adapter. Down the PMA is the APAS hatch, the hatch that separates the International Space Station now from the Dragon. With the node 2 forward hatch open, Victor Glover can work to manually pressurize the vestibule. And we just heard from here in Mission Control Hawthorne that the crew on board Dragon Endeavour will be able to monitor the vestibule pressurization on their displays from the side of the Crew Dragon.
Okay, so let me see if I can finish my thought on redundancy. I do think the redundancy is important. So we want we want vehicles that don't have any commonality, and we want redundancy between those, because like any good engineer will tell you that you never assume that things won't go wrong. You plan for things going wrong, and that's how you have the best designs. Is if you go into something with the expectation that things will go wrong, they're so much easier to mitigate. So obviously we hope that nothing ever goes wrong with the Crew Dragon. But if something ever goes wrong, and when I say something goes wrong, like it doesn't have to be a crew disaster where we lose crew. If something, like it could be something simple that goes wrong, like the last time around for, I don't remember if it was the last for Crew 1 or for Demo 2, but we had one issue where they were having some communication trouble. Like they were able to communicate with the ground, but
0938.
But the International Space Station couldn't hear them.
Houston copies 0938.
And if for some reason they had some sort of issue where they had to redo, fix a communication system, or, maybe they had a problem during docking and one of the docking adapters wasn't working correctly and they had to redesign something, or, that could delay flights. It could slow down flight, and then all of a sudden we have no ride to the International Space Station. So having that redundancy, I do think is important, because in the long run, what we want, it's awesome that SpaceX is doing their stuff, but in the long run, we want astronauts going to space regularly. We don't want that to stop. We don't want big delays. So.
Eastern, with the International Space Station, as they've been flying over the South Indian Ocean. Control teams are now working to configure
who's messing with their mic
for its stay aboard the International Space Station. They've hard mated it using 12 hooks that drive to connect it to the international docking adapter, and have connected an umbilical and confirmed that power is being drawn from the space station to the Dragon no longer needing to rely on its power source during its stay.
Somebody's eating their mic. I don't know. So what happens when the aerodynamic cover of the docking port fails to open? You're talking like the nose cone on the Dragon, on here. If that fails to open, I mean, if that fails to open, they're going home. I mean, I think they would spend a bunch of time trying to troubleshoot, but if the nose cone doesn't open, they're going home. So, end of mission. I feel that SpaceX will be focused on the moon and Mars after the 6 missions to the ISS. I mean, they're still going to continue their mission, there's no reason why they wouldn't continue missions to the ISS, assuming we still have the ISS operating for many years to come. But they're doing one mission every 6 months, and they have to do 6 missions. So, what's that? 3 years basically. And we're definitely going to have the International Space Station around for at least that amount of time. And they've talked about keeping it to at least the 2030s. So, we probably, even once the initial 6 missions happen, we probably got a lot more time after that as well. So there'll probably be more missions. And we want SpaceX to do those missions because they're getting paid. They get money for it, and that's how they fund the moon and the Mars. Or the moon? They're going to fund the whole moon. That's how they fund their missions to the moon and to Mars, is with those NASA contracts. Yes, we have the HLS contract, but don't forget the part of the HLS contract with SpaceX doing the moon landing. One of the reasons why they even got it in the first place is that SpaceX agreed to fund half of the development and testing themselves. So they said, yeah, NASA, we want $2.9 billion, which is a lot of money. But they're basically saying, it's going to cost you about $6 billion. But we're going to spend $3 billion ourselves. We'll cover $3 billion. You give us the other $3 billion. And that's a lot of money that's got to come from somewhere. It's coming from Starlink, Inspiration 4, Dear Moon, the ISS contracts like this, the commercial crew program. That's where the money's coming from. What makes you more nervous, launching to the ISS or departing back to Earth? For me, it's returning that makes me more nervous. The re-entry makes me more nervous. That is the portion of the mission that is much newer when it comes to Crew Dragon. Yes, we've done Cargo Dragon missions. They've been returning those for a while, but SpaceX does a lot of rocket launches. and there's a lot you can test with rocket launches beforehand. One of the hardest things to test is re-entry, like testing on the ground. So like that part is more nerve-wracking for me personally watching. All right, so we're into, I don't know why they're not showing us a view inside the space station. Usually at this point, they would show us the view from inside the space station, so at least we can see the pressurization. We'd see the hatch, the PMA hatch open. We would see the activity from, I'm not sure, I think it's Victor Glover that's doing the activity, getting the vestibule pressurized and ready to go. We would see a lot of that, but we're not seeing it. We're just seeing mission control, so cool. But we're still an hour and a half, hour and 25 minutes away from hatch opening. It's going to take a long time to pressurize the vestibule. That takes like an hour to equalize the pressure. Then they will open the APAS hatch, which I forget what APAS stands for. Androgynous Peripheral Attach System. So that's basically the station side of the International Docking Adapter. They'll open that hatch, and then the last hatch will be the actual hatch on the Crew Dragon itself. So 3 hatches total: the PMA hatch, the APAS hatch, and then the Crew Dragon hatch. So we got to get all 3 of them. One of them is open. The first one is easy, the PMA hatch. The forward hatch on the Node 2 there. That's done. Yeah, so there you go. There's I like Heat Shield's comment there. Heat Shield says launch has a lot of things that can go wrong, but with backup plans for almost all of it, which is true. So like we have lots and lots of backup plans for launch. Re-entry has a lot that can go wrong also, but there's very little that can be done once you're into it. Like during launch, if something happens to the booster, you can abort. You can pull the whole capsule away. Capsule goes on, booster, does what the booster does, blows up, who knows. Crew can be pulled away safely. They parachute back down. They're good to go. Like re-entry, there's no abort to re-entry. Like once you command deorbit, it's gonna deorberate. That you're coming home one way or another, and you can't abort out of that. Like you're coming back to Earth. Deorberate. So yeah, there's no option out. Why don't they switch all the ISS hatches to the same standard? They kind of did. That's what the International Docking Adapter is for, but we did that on the American side of the station. So the American side has 2 International Docking Adapters that are the same. They've now installed those. They're exactly the same docking adapter. They're universal, and any visiting vehicles coming to the American side have to be able to mate with the International Docking Adapter. So the same docking adapter for Crew Dragon, Starliner, and if Starship ever goes to it, they'll need to dock with the International Docking Adapter. Now they also have berthing ports. The berthing ports are actually a little bit larger, and that's what the Cargo Dragon, the V1 Cargo Dragon, the old Cargo Dragon, used to be berthed to the space station, where the Canada arm would grab a hold of it and then connect it to one of the berthing ports. Those are bigger ports. You can get more stuff through there. So yeah, not quite the same there, but it's good to have both, so that you have some options there. And we still have, we've got like the Cygnus capsule that gets berthed to the space station. We've got the new Cargo Dragon is doing the same autonomous docking to the International Docking Adapter now.
All right, if you're just joining us, You're getting a live view of both of the control rooms. On the left is SpaceX Mission Control in Hawthorne, and on the right, Mission Control Houston with the International Space Station Flight Control Room. Crew Dragon Endeavour is officially docked to the International Space Station, and right now teams on both the station side and Dragon side are working to get ready to open up the hatches in between them. It's going to take some time until we get to that point where we're able to open up the hatches. Victor Glover on the station side is currently inside the pressurized mating adapter. He's working to manually pressurize the vestibule that exists between both of the hatches. It's going to take some time because that vestibule has been exposed to vacuum since before Crew Dragon just docked at 2:08 a.m. Pacific time, 5:08 a.m. Eastern time, and that because it has been exposed to vacuum, the thermal environment causes it to have a little bit of oscillation as the pressure is rising. So they need to have some thermal equalization in the vestibule before beginning the pressurization to ensure that the leak checks are accurate. So they'll do a leak check on the way up to pressure, which is a little more than 14 pounds per square inch. They'll do a pressure check at 5 pounds per square inch, make sure everything's good, that the vestibule is holding pressure, and then they'll continue on up to match the pressure between the International Space Station and the Crew Dragon. In the meantime, Victor Glover will open up the A-Pass hatch on the International Space Station side. That's the hatch that separates the vestibule from the Dragon hatch. He'll outfit the A-Pass hatch by taking off the docking target, which is a long rod with an X on it, and was used for some of the optical navigation equipment on the Crew Dragon for Dragon's approach and eventual docking to the station. He'll remove that, he'll put some pads on the A-Pass hatch, make sure no one bumps their head on the way in. And then when he heads into the vestibule, there is a little window. Hopefully he'll be able to wave to his crewmates before they actually open up the hatch of the Dragon itself. After both hatches are open, the crews on both sides will get positioned. Well, first, the Crew-2 astronauts will just make sure everything is okay on Endeavour side before they go ahead and officially leave that vehicle. Crew from inside Endeavour will enter or ingress into the International Space Station one at a time, being greeted by the 7 crew members that are currently aboard the International Space Station, including Crew-1 astronauts. You have Mike Hopkins, Victor Glover, and Shannon Walker from NASA, and Soichi Noguchi from the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency. Also on board, arriving on a Russian Soyuz in April, earlier this month, was Mark Vande Hei of NASA and Oleg Novitsky and Pyotr Dubrov from Roscosmos.
Dragon SpaceX for audio configuration.
Go ahead for audio config.
Right, Shane, we are about to transition to hardline audio with ISS.
Copy.
Adjusting my display a little bit here. Wanted to get this other window out of the way so they weren't both on top of each other here.
All right, so you just
mess with that a little bit next time, but yeah. So saw a couple of other questions come through. Let me grab a couple of these. Somebody asked if Starship fails to land, is there any backup option? No, there's no backup option for Starship. Like, if the Starship is not going to have an abort system for ascent or for landing, so they need to make sure that they nail the landing before they start putting crew on board. One thing to keep in mind for Starship is this is very, very early in the development process. Like, it's easy to look at it now and see a whole bunch of things blowing up and be like, oh, we can never put crew on that. But don't forget, that is exactly why people didn't believe in SpaceX for things like the Crew Dragon, because they would see the Falcon 9 trying to land on the drone ship when they were doing their early tests for Falcon 9, and they were like, this company, they don't know what they're doing. They keep blowing up boosters. They try to land it, and it just blows up every single time. Turns out they figured it out. And now they've landed like 76 boosters or something like that. And it's the same idea. Like early in the Falcon 9 days, people were criticizing SpaceX for they would have all kinds of delays during launch. They would have, they would have issues that they would have to scrub missions for. They would try to land their booster and they failed a whole bunch of times. And they were like, they don't know what they're doing. They're just blowing things up like crazy. We're in the same situation with Starship. So we've only had what, 4 Starship launches? 8, 9, 10, and 11? Hard to count the last one because nobody saw it. It was in the fog. But yeah, so we've had 4 Starship launches. Like, we got plenty of time for them to figure it out and to get it right. And they'll get it right before they actually put crew on board. Has anyone theorized a different way to re-enter the atmosphere? This is from Jamie over on Facebook. If re-entry vehicle could be slowed from 17,000 miles, could it pass through the atmosphere without creating excessive heat? I mean, you could, but it would take a lot of fuel and a lot of energy to slow down to not create heat. You actually, you kind of want the atmosphere to do that. You kind of want that heating from the atmosphere because the atmosphere is doing all the work for you. You don't have to slow down. Like, you could re-enter the atmosphere without a lot of that heating. You just need lots and lots and lots of fuel to slow yourself down. The nice thing about using the atmosphere is that you don't need to bring all that fuel with you. You can just let the atmosphere do the work. So, I gotta go back. I saw a couple super chats from my man Steven Perez. Sent over 2 super chats a little while ago. One of them said, shout out to Tori and the awesome mods. We do have some pretty awesome moderators that are joining us this morning. You'll see them with their blue wrenches over in the Facebook or the YouTube chat. So yes, of course, thank you to our awesome moderators that join us and keep the chat in a civilized manner. Also keeps the trolls out of the way. And then he sent over another one. Steven, you're in, like I said, you're in beast mode this morning. Thank you so much. He said this channel's one of the best of the best. Well, thank you, Steven. You're one of the best of the best. You guys all are. Thanks for hanging out this morning. I know this part is the long portion. I wish they would show it. I don't know why they're not showing us inside the International Space Station. Usually they show us that. At least at this point. We should see inside the space station, so we're not just staring at mission control, but okay. Well, let's see. How do we become a moderator? Well, you got to be a member of our Discord as a starting point, and just being a good member of the community. I mean, most of the moderators are just people that have been around for a long time, and I leave it up to the moderator team. Is all they kind of run the show themselves. So when they choose you. So yeah, just being a member of our Discord and being a regular community member in between launches, where we're all chatting and taking it up. That's how the moderators that we have became moderated. And we're kind of we're like internet friends. I've never met any of our moderators in person. Hopefully someday that would be nice to change that. But yeah, I have not met any of our moderators in person. We talk on voice chat. But we're internet friends. I feel like we all kind of know each other, at least a little bit, right? Would you guys say the same? I don't know. I guess I won't speak for them. I'll let them say what they think. What speeds does Crew-2 reach? Well, so they're going to be traveling at 17,500 miles per hour. That's orbital speed at this altitude. So that's the speed the International Space Station is traveling at, 17,500 miles per hour. There's some people that get confused too the International Space Station and the whole docking thing, like they hear 17,500 miles per hour and they're like, how can we possibly dock with something that's going 17,500 miles per hour? Well, the Crew Dragon is also going 17,500 miles per hour, right? So it's all about relative speeds relative to each other. If Crew Dragon's going 17,499 miles per hour and the space station's going 17,500 miles per hour, it's only 1 mile per hour difference. Your approach speed is actually really, really, really slow. It's not really, it's all about relative speed. So don't get caught up on the actual speed, because that 17,500 miles per hour is relative to the Earth, not relative to other vehicles that are orbiting. So it's all about relativity, right? Throwback to my man Albert Einstein. It's all about relativity. During the launch, does it shake violently like in the movies? It doesn't. I don't think it shakes violently for Crew Dragon. A lot of the violent shaking that you see in movies, a lot of that came from the Space Shuttle days with the solid rocket boosters. Like my understanding, obviously I've never rode on a space shuttle. I did ride the Space Shuttle simulator at Kennedy Space Center. So if you ever go to Kennedy Space Center, they have a Space Shuttle simulator, which astronauts have said is very, very similar to how the can't see. Oh, you can see here's the the nose cone.
Endeavour Houston on 2 on the big loop for hard line. We are ready for comm checks with SpaceX, ISS, and Houston.
So they're doing communication checks here now. But yeah, the solid rocket boosters created a lot more vibration during space shuttle launches, from what I've heard from astronauts. And then once the solid rocket boosters separated, the ride was relatively smooth at that point. Plus, you're also going through the dense part of the atmosphere while those solid rocket boosters are happening. So that's where you can get a little more turbulence. I mean, once you get above the atmosphere, pretty smooth sailing at that point.
All right, so it's a little hard to see from this.
Let me ask Brittany wants to ask a question. Do astronauts see 16 sunrises in one day? That sounds so insane. Yes. Yeah. They go around the Earth every 90 minutes. So yeah, they see 15, 16 sunrises every single day. They're not. I mean, most of the work that they're doing is all inside the space station or inside the Crew Dragon. So, I don't think they spend a ton of time looking out the window. But yeah, 15, 16 a day.
That umbilical also provides a communication line. Now coming up will be a test of that communication line between the teams, between the Dragon itself, Crew Dragon Endeavour, and the International.
Is the docking complete? Yes, a soft capture was completed about 55 minutes ago. So we are, and our hard capture is completed as well. That was about 10 minutes after soft capture.
And SpaceX has you loud and clear, Endeavour.
Doing communication checks now.
And Houston has you loud and clear.
So my understanding is
The space station has you loud and clear on hardline.
We copy it all on hardline, loud and clear.
So my understanding now is they're hardwired to the International Space Station and communicating through the International Space Station's communication system.
Right,
so instead of using wireless communication from the Dragon to the space station or to satellite, they're using physically connected wires through that international docking adapter from the Dragon to the space station, and now they're testing communications through that. Still no onboard cameras from the ISS. Yeah, no, we're not. I don't know why. We don't have anything on board the ISS yet. Didn't Bob and Doug on the demo flight say they experienced more shaking during powered flight than they expected, especially with stage 2? I do recall them saying that. So, but it's hard to say like what was expected. I think that the question I was answering was, is the vibration violent? I'm sure there are vibrations, and you know, there's a little bit of shaking, but I don't necessarily think I would say that that it's violent.
We'll continue to provide periodic updates throughout this sequence of repressurizing the vestibule and opening up the hatches, configuring.
Kenneth over on Facebook says in the Apollo days, the visitor center at Kennedy Space Center had a launch simulator room. I've not been in so long. Then it was free, except bus tours or food. Now it's commercial venture instead of public education efforts. Yeah, so they do still have a launch simulator at the Kennedy Space Center. That's a space shuttle launch simulator. But yeah, you have to pay to get into the park. It's pretty much a park at this point. The Kennedy Space Center visitors complex there. But they have a lot of cool stuff. I love it. I've spent like 3 full days there. And there's still things that I would want to do there. Still haven't done it all. So. Is there any cargo in the trunk? I'm sure there's definitely cargo inside. I don't know if there's anything in the trunk itself. Because the Canadarm can't reach the trunk from this docking adapter. So anything that you'd have to pull out of the trunk, you got to get it with a Canadarm. And the Canadarm can't reach the trunk from this docking adapter. It can from the other one, the Zenith port, which is above my head here, which is where the other Crew Dragon is docked. The Canadarm can reach inside there. That's one of the reasons why they switched ports. Because the one above is going to leave. That's Resilience. That's the one that's coming home in 4 days. So 4 days from now, we'll have another one. We'll have a splashdown event. That one's going to come home. That'll leave that port open. Then CRS-22, which is the next Cargo Dragon mission, is going to come up, dock to there, and it will have new solar panels in there, which the Canadarm will have to pull out from the trunk. Why does the hatch opening take so long? Are there many checks before? Yeah, the majority of it is pressure equalization, temperature equalization of that vestibule docking area there. The space in between the space station and the Crew Dragon. It's called the vestibule. It takes a long time to pressurize that. You got to stabilize the temperature in between there. So remember, that whole thing was exposed to space. There was nothing in there. So they're trying to bring up the pressure and the temperature. And it's not, I mentioned this a little while ago, it's not like the movies or TV shows. I'm watching For All Mankind, pretty cool series. And it drives me crazy because every time they come in from space, or there's some stuff happening on the moon, every time they come in from the moon, they go into an airlock and they're just like, okay, good, I could take my helmet off, I'm good to go. Like, it's not that fast. You can't, it doesn't happen that fast. Or they're like, time to depressurize. Okay, good. We're depressurized. Now open the door. Like, it's so much longer than that. So much longer. I mean, they pressurize an entire gigantic airlock faster than I can, fill up my tires with, 2 PSI of extra air that needs to go in my car tires. It takes a while. Yeah, and there's also, as Flam7 mentions, there's also leak checks involved. Like, not only do you need to pressurize, but you want to pressurize and make sure that the pressure actually holds before you open anything. Like, you want You want to get it pressurized, and I think they do a lot of the leak checks. They're going to pressurize like halfway, and then they do some leak checks, and then they'll continue pressurizing and monitoring the pressure the whole time. But yeah, some of the leak checks are just like, it's just time. Like they pressurize, and then they're like, okay, let's wait. Is the pressure holding? Let's just sit here and watch it. And that's just tick of the clock. You're just like, all right, is it staying? Is it not staying? And then they proceed. So yeah, it's a lot. Things in space are a little bit slower than you might see on TV in the movies. Yeah, there. Somebody else. This exact same comment we saw earlier. Look, old tech meets new tech. Yeah, kind of. But what you're actually seeing here now is not old tech and new tech. It's new tech and new tech. Because this thing, I can't reach my finger up that high. But the black part there, that's the international docking adapter, and that's actually new for the space station. Less than 30 minutes to opening the inner hatch. Yeah, so we should have the A-Pass hatch opening. Yeah, should be in about 30 minutes. That'll be the station side of the vestibule. They should open that in about half an hour. We'll see the A-Pass hatch open. That is after they've fully pressurized. Then once they get the A-Pass hatch open, they're gonna have to put in some. They gotta put in some padding. Because there's a little docking probe there that they got to remove. You want to make sure people aren't going to smack their heads on it. Doug Hurley, when he got to the space station, actually smashed his head on the opening of the PMA hatch. But they're not going to do anything about that. That's a pretty big hatch. That's just, you got to watch your head coming through. But coming through the vestibule, that's relatively small. And so, they want to make sure people aren't going to scrape themselves up or bump into things. So they put some padding on, some covers to protect the astronauts, but also to protect the equipment as well. You don't want to damage the equipment coming through. They'll check some of the connections. They'll get the hatch opening. We still got probably an hour from now for hatch opening. And then we get a welcoming ceremony about half an hour after that. When undocking from the top port, would you have a feeling of looking down and you have to float up? Yeah, kind of. Except you would be, yeah, I guess kind of. I don't know. Obviously I've never been to space, so I don't know what that feeling would be like. But you're in microgravity, so it's tough to feel up and down. But yeah, the Earth would technically be below you, but I don't think you would feel that way because, like, you've been working in space for 6 months, and there is no up and down really. What if the whole ISS lost connection? That would be a problem. I don't know. That would be if you lost communication. I mean, there's lots of redundancies in space, but if you completely lose connection, like, they would go under emergency procedures. They would try to repair it. Depends on what else is going wrong. Do they have to get in the lifeboat and leave? Like, I mean, I think it's pretty unlikely, but. When is the hatch opening? We still got about an hour for hatch opening. I like Fritz 46's analysis. If they lose communication, they would just throw messages in bottles down to Earth. Yeah, exactly. That's the backup plan. They have pigeons on board with little tiny pigeon spacesuits, and they load up a message with the pigeon, and they have little itty bitty pigeon crew dragons that they would actually send the pigeons home with the messages for re-entry, and they would land and deliver the message. That's the emergency contingency if the ISS loses communication. Could you imagine a little itty bitty crew dragon with just like one pigeon on board? Oh man, it's just a funny. I'm just picturing a pigeon in a tiny little Crew Dragon capsule now. Oh man. How does the message get there? That's the real question. How does the pigeon get up? You need a pigeon-sized Falcon 9. Where is Crew 1 gonna land? So the primary recovery zone would be off the east coast of Florida. Would be the primary recovery zone. They could, due to weather, they could land on the west coast of Florida. They could land by Tampa. They could land around Pensacola area, which is where that's where Bob and Doug landed with Demo 2. Was off of Pensacola, but primarily they want to land near Cape Canaveral, Daytona, somewhere in that region on the east coast there, because it just makes getting the Crew Dragon back, getting the crew back easier and faster. So usually and it's very close to the coast, actually, much closer. It's not like the Apollo days. Like back in the Apollo days, we would land capsules like 1,000 miles out in the ocean, in the middle of the ocean with nobody around. You'd have just the military and an aircraft carrier and helicopters to recover the crew. They're actually really close to shore, so much so that for Demo 2, we saw a gigantic flotilla of boats just surround the capsule. We're told that that's going to be much more secured this time around for Crew 1. We'll find out in 4 days. We'll see who tries to show up with their boats in 4 days from now. Because that took everybody by surprise last time. I mean, there's a lot of people that looked at it and they're like, oh, what's the big deal? Just let them watch. Who cares? But there's a lot of concerns with that. I mean, one, you've got the concern to the actual people in the boats. There are hypergolic fuels that are still being expelled after touchdown, and those are deadly. They're toxic. Like you
SpaceX Endeavor for some reports on 4.400 when you're ready.
SpaceX is ready to copy for 4.400.
Okay, for tablet percentage MS1 77, CDR 84, PLT 87, MS2 79.
All right, SpaceX copies. Reading back. Tablet power is MS1 77, CDR is 84, PLT is 87, and MS2 is 79.
Good readback.
So yeah, we'll find out what the boat situation is. I'm gonna throw out. This is usually. I'm gonna consider that. Well, actually, let me acknowledge Stephen Perez, because he's, like I said, he's in beast mode this morning. Thank you, Stephen, for the support. He said, "Man, I'm getting hungry. What's for breakfast?" That's a good question. I'm getting hungry too. I gotta have breakfast myself here soon. But we're gonna stick through the welcoming ceremony. So we still got about an hour to hatch opening. I say up next like it's coming soon. I think we're still like an hour away. But so I want to go to, I saw a good question from Skylar Markholt. a lot of times, I'm not sure if Skylar's is getting into conspiracy territory, but usually this is like a conspiracy territory question. But I do like to give legitimate answers, even if we are, kind of towing on conspiracy land, because sometimes, and we'll give Skylar the benefit of the doubt, maybe they are like legitimate questions, and some other people will be like, oh yeah, I was kind of wondering that myself. So Skylar's question is how do you guys not hit the Starlink satellites that are supposedly blanketing the planet? So yeah, there are lots of Starlink satellites orbiting the Earth. There are lots of other satellites orbiting the Earth, but the sky and space is way bigger than you realize it is. If you can the best way to kind of analyze that is that at any time during a normal day, there are between 10 to 20,000 airplanes in the sky flying overhead at any given moment, which is way more than we have satellites. We don't even have that many satellites in orbit. So there are 10 to 20,000 planes flying above us at any point during the day. If you rarely look up at the sky and go like, oh my goodness, there are so many planes in the sky, I can't even see the clouds, or I can't even see the blue sky. Like, look at how much traffic is up there. There's way too many planes. Like, I mean, unless you're sitting under the approach path at JFK in New York City, like, there's really not that many planes in the sky. Like, you can look up, like, yeah, maybe you see a plane pass here or a plane pass there, but there's openings all over the place. Like, there's not that many planes up there. And there are more than double, there's 2 to 4 times the number of planes in the sky than there are satellites orbiting Earth. There's plenty of room. So space is huge. Not only that, but a lot of those satellites that are in orbit are in geostationary orbit, which is much farther than the space station is. So space is not just two-dimensional. Like, we don't just have all of our satellites in one plane that you have to fly through. Like, yeah, we have a lot in low Earth orbit. Most of those low Earth orbit satellites, which are actually
In Houston on 2, we've had a good vestibule pressurization and leak check. You are go to pick up an Ingress Part 2, Step 3.
All right, that's great news. Picking up in Part 2, Step 3 for Ingress. Thanks.
We got good leak checks. All right, let me finish my rant about satellites. So, yeah, we also have different altitudes for satellites. A lot of them are out in geostationary orbit, which is way far away. The Starlink satellites, their operational orbit is 550 kilometers. The space station only flies at about 400 kilometers. So we're not even at the level, we haven't even reached the operational level of the Starlink satellites. They're actually higher than the space station, and they do that on purpose so that, the space station isn't dodging and hello. Okay. Oh, we lost it. What happened? What happened to our feed?
For SpaceX and NASA,
I got it back. We're good.
Dragon Endeavour has docked to the International Space
Station. So yeah, we just there's the answer. I know there's a very good chance that I don't even think Skylar's around. No, maybe he is around. I don't know if it's a serious question or you even accept that sort of answer, but hopefully for anybody that is actually curious about that, like why we don't run into satellites, because that could be a legitimate question, why we don't run into satellites. Hopefully that gives you some insight as to why we don't run into satellites. A lot of them are farther away than this, and even the ones that are out there, there's really not that many.
Again, this process does take a bit of
maybe he saw the WALL-E opening. Yeah, if you've watched WALL-E, like that is not what space looks like. WALL-E, the movie where they have to like plow through a bajillion satellites, like that is not at all what it's like. Maybe someday if we if we have millions and millions of satellites in orbit, we could have a major problem like that. But we don't have that. We don't have that many satellites in orbit.
So if you're just joining us, the Dragon itself is attached to the International Space Station.
I should mention, just because, like, so we also track. I saw another. Who was this? Flam 7 says the U.S. Air Force tracks tens of thousands of objects. Yeah, we track pretty much everything that's in orbit. We know where everything is so that we stay around it. But if you think about it, yesterday, there was actually, I tweeted about this yesterday in case you follow me on Twitter. But yesterday, I did tweet about this. Right here's the Twitter handle in case you want to follow me. The Crew Dragon actually had a close conjunction with a piece of unknown orbital debris. They still haven't said what it is, but there was a piece of unknown orbital debris that showed up on radar that was approaching very, very closely to the Crew Dragon yesterday, and they did actually have to don their suits and prepare for depressurization events. They had their suits on, their visors down, they were strapped in their seats, they were ready to be hit by something. I mean, they could have. I think more likely they were ready to perform like an avoidance maneuver if necessary. They were basically, because it was an unknown object, they were tracking it and they were trying to figure out, okay, what is it? Where is this going? What is its orbital parameter? What are the orbital parameters of this unknown object? Is it going to hit us? Do we need to do an avoidance maneuver? They could have done an avoidance maneuver if they needed to. Turns out they didn't need to. But yeah, we do have stuff like that. There are like smaller pieces of debris that are a major concern. A lot of those come from, we've got, we do have like dead satellites that are up there that we have no control over. Those are a concern. We have, China blew up a satellite a couple of years ago that created like millions of pieces of tiny little orbital debris. Those are a major concern. We got to track every single one of those little tiny pieces and where it is. A lot of that stuff re-enters and burns up in the atmosphere, but some of it stays up there for years and years or decades and decades.
Victor's first mission on the International Space Station, and first time that he has been to space, so it's pretty cool that he gets to welcome the Crew-2 team and help get.
How have we taken a picture of the Milky Way galaxy? Well, we've only taken pictures of portions of it, like what we can see. We've never.
Yeah, we were wondering if we could get permission to come on board and Node 2.
You're welcome. Please come on board.
There we go. We're going to get some onboard cameras.
We'll need the high-def camera powered on.
All right, so we've been very lucky with some of the external views here.
What was I saying? I lost track of it. Oh, the picture of the Milky Way. If you've ever seen a picture of like the entire Milky Way, that's not a picture. That's an animation. We've never taken a picture of the entire Milky Way. That's an animation.
From Victor Glover, we should be getting some views from the inside of the International Space Station.
Case. I like where Case 1320 is going. He says, "All right, enough about this serious, enough about that talk. Let's go back to the pigeon idea. I think this plan has wings." I like where your head's at.
We did hear confirmation earlier that the vestibule is pressurized between the two hatches. Those hatches being the station hatch and the Dragon hatch.
So we should have the APAS hatch. I don't know why they're not showing us inside the space station. Normally they would show us that by now, but the APAS hatch should be opened in about 10 minutes from now. Did China intentionally blow up a satellite? Yes. Yes, they did. I think it was China, right? This is a couple years ago. Testing my memory now.
Looks like we got
Oh, there we go. Now we can see inside.
on the
About time. So, yeah, what we're seeing here now, the big opening there, that is the PMA hatch, which is open. You can see the exit sign at the top. That's the bottom of the PMA hatch. So basically the whole thing kind of slides up like this. That's the bottom of the PMA hatch. Inside, he's inside the pressurized mating adapter there. That's what the PMA stands for. It looks like Soichi Noguchi inside the PMA. By his feet there is the A-Pass hatch. That's the start of the vestibule area that they are getting pressurized. They're going to get ready to open that here in about 10 minutes. So that's the second hatch that will open, is the A-Pass hatch. Looks like they're getting ready to open it here now. That should be opening here anytime in the next 10 minutes. And then there'll be the little vestibule area. And at the far end of that is the Crew Dragon hatch. You'll see the actual outer skin of the Crew Dragon, or I guess it's the outside of the docking adapter of the Crew Dragon.
Once that hatch is open, there will be 11 crew members on board the International Space Station.
Do you know when SN15 will launch? Hopefully next week. Could be Monday, but I don't think so because they haven't done a static fire yet. So hopefully sometime next week. That'd be Starship SN15.
Sort of forget that you don't really need to be in an upright position to work. From this orientation, we're looking sort of in an upright position. If you look down or nadir from this position, you would go straight down towards the Earth, but you can see clearly Soichi Noguchi upside down. Mike Hopkins was just upside down. You don't really need to be in a particular orientation to work.
You see a couple people commenting, yeah, it looks like I'm in the space station. I'm sure it seemed like we were getting a couple of what do we want to call them? Non-believers? A nice way. A couple of non-believers. Look at it's all just green screen and wires. Here I am, like I'm in the space station myself. Hey guys, high five. Anybody? No?
Arrived
Okay.
earlier this month
Fine.
on the Soyuz MS-18 rocket launching from Kazakhstan.
I'll switch back to this view so it doesn't look like I'm floating
Two
around.
Russian cosmonauts, Oleg Novitsky and Fyodor Dubrov. They'll be joining for the welcome ceremony to welcome the Crew-2 astronauts aboard.
When the Dragon connects to the ISS, does it upset the orbit of the ISS at all? No, not really. I mean, there's a tiny bit of energy that's transferred there, but they came in at 0.08 meters per second. Very, very slow, and it just barely touches against it. There's some station-keeping thrusters that they can, stabilize their orbit. So, yeah, nothing huge there. There are, one of the things that you don't really see on camera here is that the space station does have like subtle movements to it. You can kind of see, we looked at it last time, but the Crew Dragon can kind of wiggle a little bit. There's some movements there in the space station. Nick says, so that's the hatch to the cone of the Dragon. No, we can't see the Dragon yet. So there are 3 hatches total. We got the PMA hatch, the pressurized mating adapter. That's the big one that's open. Actually, right now, he's opening the A-Pass hatch. So that's the... I just looked this up. I forgot what it stands for again. Androgynous Peripheral Attach System. That's the A-Pass hatch. That's what they're opening right now is the A-Pass hatch. That's basically, they've just exposed the vestibule now. So that's that black section that we see there for where the International Docking Adapter is. So they've equalized pressurization.
Looks like the pressurized mating adapter is used for some stowage. So there's
It does look like there's a lot of stuff in there.
Noguchi and Glover are reconfiguring some of the stowed items to allow some room to open up the A-Pass hatch, the hatch on the International Space Station side, and provide a pathway for the Crew-2 astronauts to come through the hatch to be welcomed in Node 2.
Yeah, there's a lot more stuff in there than realized. So, anyways, let's see. What do we else we have for question? Does you said they see sunrise every 90 minutes. Why haven't we seen the sun on camera until now? That's because you're probably late to the party, because we saw the sun early on in the broadcast. And then they went into nighttime, so you were at the second part of the 90 minutes. We did see the sun. We saw the sun at the beginning when we started. Then they went into nighttime. They went 90, and then now they're back to. I think they should be back at daytime here now. We can go to our map. Let's see. I don't know where we are in our orbit right now. Where are you, ISS? There's the ISS right now. So the ISS right now is over the Indian Ocean. And so we're actually coming out of daytime again, going back to nighttime. Like, our orbit has changed quite a bit.
A-Pass hatch open, and that's dry, and seals are clean.
And Houston copies, and you can continue in step 4.
So we're a couple minutes ahead of schedule. That's nice.
Dragon, SpaceX, 4 procedure 4.400.
Go ahead, SpaceX.
All right, Shane, when you're ready with that A-Pass hatch call, that does unblock us to go into section 5 of 4.400 when we get there. Additionally, when you're ready, we are ready to collect inventory in section 3.
A couple people saying they should have had the.
Okay, inventory coming to you, and we're ready for section 5 after that.
SpaceX copies, thanks.
Thank you for Thomas for the inventory. So just quickly compared to what I reported prior, the only delta is 2 bottles from location, from bag 204 in location 9. All the rest is as per our previous report. So I'm not sure you need all the details of what's remaining, because I kind of gave the detail of what we've consumed from the food locations. I can give you the details, it's your call.
SpaceX copies. If there's no delta from your previous report, we don't need it, but I will read back. That was 4 bottles from bag 204.
Here you go. So this is the camera view from the Crew Dragon. The Crew Dragon docking camera. Is this the Crew?
2 bottles from 204. Last question for section 5 of 4.400. Does that 2 bottle include the additional bottle that will be used in step 5.1, or will we require an additional bottle?
I know it's a good question, Arthur, and we're working on this, so you can add another bottle for this section, and we'll grab it from 206.
All right, SpaceX copies. Thanks, Thomas. We'll take 1 bottle from 206.
There's a wrench floating away there.
And Thomas, SpaceX, last question. Can you confirm no food deltas from previous report, or did you also consume midday meals for today?
No, we didn't consume anything. The latest, last food consumption was the one I reported before.
All right, copy. Thank you.
All right, you just heard the core here.
So yeah, so we're looking from the Crew Dragon into the vestibule area. This is like the black and white docking camera here. At the from the nose cone of the Crew Dragon, looking at all the preparations. We only have one hatch to go. We're getting pretty close. Let's see. We had a couple other questions. Do astronauts get alcohol while in the ISS? I don't think so. I don't think they do. I don't think that would probably be a good idea. Like when you're on the ISS, like you do have some downtime from the work you're doing, but you're kind of always on. Like you got to be prepared at any point for emergencies and be aware of your surroundings and things like that. I don't think they'd be okay with, guys having some alcohol on board. So I'm gonna go with no on that. Is that padding around the hatch? Most of the stuff you're seeing around the hatch is just storage, stuff that they're storing in the PMA.
Dragon SpaceX. Question on procedure 4.012 suit doffing.
Go ahead, SpaceX.
All right, Shane, just wanted to follow up. We wanted to confirm that all 4 suits are drying, and then when ready, when we can come back on board.
All 4 suits are drying. Some of them have been drying for an hour already, and you are welcome to come back on board.
Copy that, Tama. Thank you.
Very cool. Got some words that we might get some.
So we might get some onboard views there with the crew here shortly. They shut off the cameras when they're taking their suits off and they're getting their clothes changed. Like we don't need cameras of that. A couple of people asked about the sleep cycle. So they use UTC, the Universal Time, on board the space station. They do have sleep schedules. They don't just like sleep whenever they feel like it. Like they're on a schedule. But yeah, usually they're using UTC time on the International Space Station. So they were just talking about midday meals, even though it's 6:40 a.m. Eastern Time, 5:40 a.m. at Mission Control Houston, and 3:40 a.m. at Mission Control Hawthorne. So middle of the night for them, but for the astronauts, this is considered midday. It's like, or mid-morning, like 10:40 in the morning. Did they say what the object was that came close to the Crew Dragon? Not that I've heard. I haven't heard any more details other than they were tracking it. I haven't heard if they've identified it. So this is the hatch cover, the APAS hatch cover that Mike Hopkins is getting out right now. They will put some padding and covering on the APAS hatch itself. Most of the stuff you're seeing around there is storage. Those things that look like big giant pillows. That's all storage.
Dragon SpaceX for awareness. Cameras are back on board.
Thanks. Welcome on board.
All right, we'll hopefully get those views inside Dragon soon. Meanwhile, Soichi Noguchi continuing to outfit the hatch. Again, this is one of those steps to get all of the hatches open in between Dragon and the International Space Station. Now getting views from inside Dragon. The crew have doffed or taken off their suits. And so now they're dressed and ready for the welcome ceremony. Once they get on board, we'll have some hugs and they'll have a chance to talk with some of their crewmates before getting in front of the camera to officially welcome the Crew-2 astronauts aboard the International Space Station, an orbiting complex that will support a crew of 11 until Wednesday the 28th is the planned undocking time for the Crew-1 astronauts, Soichi Noguchi, currently one of those astronauts that will be departing, along with 3 American astronauts, including Shane Kim, Mike Hopkins, Shannon Walker, and Victor Glover.
Yeah, so it's gonna be pretty crowded up there soon. 11 total astronauts. We're gonna have almost a full house. I think the max. What's the max? Like 13 or so that we've had on the International Space Station. I think it's 13 max astronauts on the ISS. I don't know what the maximum population in space at historic high 13.
All right, looks like Noguchi has that APAS hatch wrapped. You can see just above him, he used a series of padding and blankets to wrap the metal structure that.
Yeah, that was in the Space Shuttle, the Space Shuttle days. The Space Shuttle had a lot more room. We do have 11 up there now, but 4 of them are going home in just 4 days.
Vestibule section that are peeking through towards us on the.
So they'll clear out a little bit.
Allow the circulation of some of the air from.
So now.
The station side and remove any carbon pockets that may.
Now we're just waiting for that final hatch opening here. So they're getting some airflow happening here inside the vestibule. They're getting all the padding up, making sure the APAS hatch is secured there, so nobody hurts themselves or the equipment. We got cameras set up. We're getting close, getting closer. We're still probably 20 minutes to hatch opening, but maybe sooner. It did seem like they were a little bit ahead of schedule. So scheduled hatch opening is actually not for 30 minutes from now, but based on previous missions, they would normally be opening the hatch in about 22 minutes based on their previous schedules. But and they actually seem to be ahead of schedule right now. So what do they do with their dirty laundry? Pretty sure they just pack it up. They just I don't think they do any laundry on the ISS.
Station is ready for Dragon Hatch equalization.
Oh, here you go. Dragon Hatch equalization. So they just equalize the pressure between...
Endeavor copies. Endeavor copies.
So we started with equalization between the space station and the vestibule, so they could open the APAS hatch.
That's astronaut Mark Van High coming in to help out.
They're getting ready for the Crew Dragon hatch.
The crew on both sides getting confirmation. The next step's underway to get that other hatch open. There's one more hatch. You see the station side hatch open at the back end of the pressurized mating adapter there. There's one more hatch, the Dragon on the Dragon side. And the crews on both ends are working through to open up that hatch and welcome the Crew-2 astronauts on board. Just going to stand by for a few minutes for pressure to equalize between the International Space Station and the Dragon hatch before go ahead and opening that final one.
Adding things to my event list so that we have them for next time.
And Endeavor Houston, can you confirm readiness for hatch equalization?
Endeavor's ready. Endeavor's ready.
Okay, Station and Endeavor, stand by for equalization. It's expected to take 5.5 minutes.
Station copy.
5.5 minutes to equalize.
Endeavor copies. Endeavor copies.
And then at that point, they should be pretty close to hatch opening, so they may be done. We're gonna add another event for next time.
All right, so you heard that equalization time. A timer is set for about 5.5 minutes to allow that pressure to equalize between the pressure inside the environment of the International Space Station and the pressure inside the Dragon. That pressure has to be equalized within both spacecraft before the Dragon hatch is open. One of the steps to open up.
Why does it take so much time to open the hatch? Yeah, it's a very careful process because mostly it's the pressure equalization. We mentioned this a bunch of times today. It's not like the movies or TV where you just push a button, equalize pressure and just psst, and it's done like that. It drives me nuts when I see that on movies and things like that. It's like it takes some time. Especially the vestibule area, because there's nothing in there. It's a vacuum of space. They got to equalize temperature and pressure inside the vestibule area. That takes the longest. You heard they're going to equalize pressure between the Dragon and the space station. The Dragon is already pressurized. They're just trying to make sure it matches up with the space station, so they don't have even just a small difference there could be a problem with opening the hatch. So they're going to make sure that that's equalized. That only takes about 5 minutes, but the majority of the time is checking for leaks and equalizing the pressure inside the vestibule area. Movies would be a lot longer if they actually followed physics. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like as a movie watcher, like I'm glad that they don't follow physics, because that would be super boring. As evidenced by today, we're all sitting around going like, open the hatch already! Come on, let's do it! But yeah, if they did that in movies, nobody would watch movies. So yeah, I guess I appreciate it that they actually, they do, psst, okay, we're good to go, take the helmet off. But it just gets a bit annoying because everybody watches movies and then they think that's real life, and when in real life it takes a little bit longer. They're like, why is it taking so long? This is not like the movie I watched yesterday. It's like, yeah, it's like, that was a movie. This is not a movie. This is real. Could this be improved in the future? Yeah, so I guess the other, we talk about this a lot with some stuff, is the length of time that it takes to pressurize.
So right now it's looking like the procedures to undergo opening up the hatch. Again, we're still waiting for pressure to equalize between the space station and the Dragon itself.
Looks like they're getting ready.
Opening up that hatch. But it seems like we're on a good timeline to start a welcome ceremony on time.
I was kind of hoping they were going to say early.
To begin at 4:45 a.m. Pacific. Should be 7:45 a.m. Eastern.
I was hoping they were going to do the welcome ceremony early. Getting kind of hungry. Yeah, so I started talking about, the question was, can they improve this? Can they make it faster? The thing is, this is not a problem for them. Like, I'm sure they probably actually prefer to have the extra time. It's only a problem for us watching it because it's not entertainment, or it's not entertaining. For them, like, that's their goal is to get people in the space station safely. And it's not like, is it boring and does it take a long time to get there? Yeah, it does. But like, is it a problem? Or are they like, all right, we gotta solve this. Like, we gotta make this faster. No, it's not a big deal. Like, they don't mind it at all. The fact that it takes this long is perfectly fine. What is the lifespan of the space station? It's really going to come down to how long are people going to continue paying for it. So the Russians said they're going to back out in 2025. I think we've said that in the U.S. that we're going to continue funding it until at least
inside Node 2 now you see over
at least the 2030s. I mean, it would probably survive longer than that. So the question is just going to be how long are we going to continue to have funding for it?
Aliens Commander Mike Hopkins, followed by Suichi Noguchi and International Space Station Commander and NASA astronaut Shannon Walker.
Hey, Steven Perez, thanks for the super chat. Steven said, I busted out the flaming hot Cheetos. Well, now you're going to make me hungry, because I haven't had breakfast yet. It's almost 7 o'clock.
How do you fit 11 people on camera? That's what we want to know.
And that's what it looked like they were trying
That's
to
right.
figure out.
Does anybody know if we're in orbital day or orbital night? I think we're in orbital night now. We just looked at the map a little while ago. Here's our, where are we now? Yeah, we're just going into orbital night. We're in orbital night right now, so we're just south of Australia, right here. And then we'll be coming orbital day when it comes back close to me. Actually, it's gonna go like directly over the top of me here. Oh, almost. I'm like here. So almost directly over the top of me. So we can. It'll be orbital day here, probably, I don't know, in about 45 minutes or so, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Get back to orbital day.
There for 6 months with periodic checks, of course, to check on the status.
So that's where we are. That's where we are right now. What software is that? That's called Stuff in Space. I think fast pressurization adjustments might cause other problems if not properly implemented. Yeah, generally, like, slower is better in space. Like, you would rather, it's much better to go slow, make sure things are normal, make sure I mean, when you try to go fast, that's when problems arise. That's when things can break, things fall apart. If you go slow and steady, you can head off problems before they're problems. Are you using Linux? I use Linux at work, but this is a Windows machine that I use to run these.
Endeavour and station hatch equalization has started. 5.5 minutes wait time.
Well, they just started pressurization equalization. Okay, I thought they had started that a while ago.
Endeavour, copy.
Well, let's change our timeline then.
All right, so the pressure the equalization process has been started between the International Space Station and Crew Dragon Endeavour. The clock starts 5.5 minutes.
We'll back that up a touch.
After that clock runs out, the teams will verify that the hatch is good to open between the Dragon and the International Space Station. We're still tracking to start the welcome ceremony at 4:45 a.m. Pacific time, 7:45 a.m. Eastern. We'll hopefully get to see the crew in early, but they'll be able to do some hugs, get settled, and then get in position to start the welcome ceremony. We'll keep you up to date if that time does change, but it seems we're looking good so far for the Endeavour crew to enter into the International Space Station.
It looks like we
Yeah,
got
once
that
you
live view
once you start to see everybody gathering here in the in front of the hatches, then you know we're getting close. Everybody's ready for arrival and the welcoming ceremony, which will be about 20 to 30 minutes after hatch opening usually. Let's see, Stephen Perez, thanks again for the super chat, man. Do you go to sleep after the stream, or do you just start your day? That's a good question. I don't know, because this is a weird time. I did wake up at like 3 o'clock. I'm certain that I will take a nap at some point today. I guess whether the nap is right after I get off the stream or later in the day, I don't know. Depends on how I feel after I get done with this. I'm thinking it'll be later in the day, because it's, you know, it's gonna be like 8 o'clock in the morning by the time we're done. And I might just go right to my day and then take a nap a little bit later. Let's see. Kate Mazing 4 says, "Is this your job?" No, this is not my full-time job. I mean, it is kind of a job, but I don't get paid for it. I'm a volunteer. So Overlook Horizon's a 501c3 nonprofit educational charity in the United States. If you wanna make a charitable donation, none of it comes to me personally. I make a total of $0 off of this. But if you want to make a donation to the nonprofit educational charity, you can do that at overlookhorizon.com/donate. Or you can do, you can support us in other ways. I mean, the donating, you don't really get any benefits for that. That's kind of the definition of donating. But you can get benefits just by being like a Patreon member or a YouTube channel member. And then you also support our educational charity. But yeah, my YouTube channel is a little bit different than some of the other YouTubers because I am 100% a volunteer. I make any of these super chats, the memberships, the I forget the stars, all that kind of stuff. Like, a lot of YouTubers will say that they put it all back into the channel, which, yeah, I'm not saying they're lying. Like, they probably are putting it back into the channel. Here, for Overlook Horizon, 100% of it has to go back into the channel because it's a nonprofit. So I make zero money. I'm not a paid member of the nonprofit. I'm a volunteer. I do this for fun. So yeah, there's that. I just enjoy I enjoy being part of the community. I enjoy meeting people, enjoy hanging out, chatting. So that's what I do. But my regular job, I'm a software engineer. This is my regular job. That's what I do Monday to Friday in my regular work. So I do that, and then this is kind of my free time, my fun time that I come hang out with you guys.
Looks like we just have a different camera view on the International Space Station. That is JAXA.
Let's see. John says, "How can I buy you a beer?" Well, if you see me in person, I'll certainly accept it. But because I'm a volunteer, you can't. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. I mean, you can, as a volunteer of the nonprofit, like, I get to do things for the nonprofit, which are a lot of fun to me. Like, I get to, go to NASA and do these kind of things. So I would say, consider supporting the nonprofit, because that's what allows me to go do some of these fun things and then bring the coverage to you guys. I appreciate the thought, though. I mean, a beer at 7 a.m. is probably not my style, but maybe if we, someday when we get back to being able to do, group events and things like that, would love to do some sort of like meet up or hangout with people, maybe at Cape Canaveral or something like that. If I attend a launch, that would be kind of fun, don't you think? We do some sort of like Space Lobster Nation meetup. What time do you sleep for these type of early events? Yeah, I mean, I went to bed early last night.
For 4.400.
And then I got up at like 3 in the morning today. Middle of the day naps are the best, yeah.
Go ahead, SpaceX, on Dragon to ground.
There will definitely be a nap today.
Shane, just looking for confirmation of completion of section 5 of 4.400.
Section 5 is complete.
SpaceX copies, thanks. And additionally, last check is completion of procedure 4.012, suit doffing.
Yeah, sorry, we didn't let you know that. 4.012 is complete.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Shane.
All right, a few checks from the crew operation.
All right, we're getting close. We should be very, very close to hatch opening now.
On the big loop for hatch open.
Oh, for hatch open.
Go ahead for hatch open on the big loop.
And a little echo.
All right, Dragon, you are go for hatch opening per the decal on the hatch, followed by the remaining actions in procedure 4.400, section 6.
Okay, that's in work.
Good words that they got the go for opening the Dragon hatch.
So any minute we should have the official hatch opening now.
We can kind of see.
They got the official go. You can kind of see the hatch inside the vestibule area. You can see the little handle. Oh, look, there it goes. It's turning. They're opening it. It's happening. There you go. You can see they're turning the handle to open the hatch.
This is the Crew-2 crew performing this work right now.
I can't see. Get out of the way. Open it up. Come on, look at them all excited. There it is, it's open!
All right, Dragon hatch is open.
The hatch is open.
Already seeing a bunch of smiles.
Sweet. We've got a hatch opening.
All right, that Dragon hatch, the final hatch that we've been waiting for since Endeavour docked to the International Space Station 2 hours ago, 2:08 a.m. Pacific. 4:05 a.m. Pacific is the time that Dragon hatch was open. Already seeing some smiles.
So again, as we mentioned, the Dragon hatch is open, but the Crew-2 members still need to finish walking through some remaining procedures before they can ingress onto the space station, including photos. It looks like
couple of photos happening.
You can see the the crew posing for some pictures there.
SpaceX on the big loop, hatch is open.
SpaceX copies on the big loop. Hatch is open.
All right, again, the hatch was open at 4:05 a.m. Pacific. The space station and Dragon flying together in unison, attached, Endeavour attached at the forward port. Those vehicles were 267 statute miles over the South Pacific to the east of New Zealand.
SpaceX Endeavour 4.400 complete.
SpaceX copies. 4.400 is complete.
So we should have
So as a
Ingress
reminder,
soon.
even though Dragon hatch is open, it still may be a couple of minutes until the crew, Dragon Endeavour astronauts actually ingress or enter into the International Space Station to be welcomed by all of the expedition's 65 crew members currently aboard, who are eagerly awaiting them to come on board their new home, the International Space Station, for the next 6 months. There's a couple of procedures. You see some of the air ducts.
Houston Dragon in 2.102, step 6, decimal 1, IMV duct installation complete. You are go for IMV fan activation.
Houston copies. We'll put that in work.
Do they ask for permission to come aboard? That's a good question. I don't know. For naval regulations.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
so some of those procedures
they do follow
that,
a lot of that
are
kind of
happening
stuff.
On the Dragon side, they're going
don't
to
think so.
install some IMV ducting, mixing the air of the International Space Station environment with the air inside the Crew Dragon Endeavour. They're going to seal some of the LiO or lithium hydroxide cartridges that scrubbed carbon dioxide inside the Dragon capsule on the ride up to the International Space Station. They're going to check some vent valves, so it may be some time until we actually see them welcomed aboard. But just these last final checks are critical before they leave the capsule that brought them up to the International Space Station. Make sure it's good to go because it will remain docked here for the next 6 months.
Gonna add some more events to the timeline for next time around. Let's see. I saw another. Let me go back to here. I saw another super chat come by from Cristiano. Cristiano said, "Tori, where can I buy a shirt like yours, like this NASA shirt?" I don't know. I got this at Kennedy Space Center. So this is from NASA. I got this in person. It's probably one of the better NASA shirts that I've had, which is why I bought it. I mean, some kind of they don't feel great quality. This one actually feels really nice quality. So this is one of my favorites. But yeah, I got this it was actually at the Kennedy Space Center, but not in like the visitor center gift shop. I got this, there's like it's like an employees gift shop that was in, during one of my NASA socials when we got kind of some behind the scenes tours. I went into one of the employees gift shops, and that's where I got this. So yeah, I don't know if you can get this because in order to get here, you had to go into one of the employee buildings, which is not open to the general public. But that's where I got this shirt from. I saw, where was it? Somebody had asked, David Hampton over on Facebook said, when you're looking at stuff in space, how do I find the ISS? That's a good question, because you can't just search for the ISS. You have to search for Zarya, Z-A-R-Y-A, which is the first International Space Station module. And that's how we identify the space station. But that's what you have to search for if you're looking for the ISS. You have to search for Zarya to find the ISS if you're using that stuff in space. Is it cold up there? I mean, not inside the station. I mean, I'm sure it's pretty comfortable inside there. They gotta live there 24/7 for the next 6 months.
If you're just now joining us, the Crew-2 Dragon Endeavour is attached to the International Space Station. We are just eagerly awaiting the crew on board Dragon to ingress onto the space station here shortly. They're finishing their final procedures. Both the A-Pass hatch and the Dragon hatch are open.
Somebody said once they're out of the capsule, do they close the hatch? No, it'll stay open. It's basically now part of the space station. So the hatch would stay open. On the other Crew Dragon, Mike Hopkins was sleeping in it for a while. I think somebody's going to sleep in this Crew Dragon as well, because there's so many people there right now. So yeah, they'll keep the hatch open. basically stays open until it's time to go.
Hopkins.
And Soichi doing some flips for us.
That's right.
This is the Crew-1 crew waiting to welcome the Crew-2 crew, whom they will hand the baton off to. They'll spend approximately 5 days with the Crew-2 astronauts as they do a handover prior to Crew-1 coming back to Earth as early as April 28th next week.
Tony Murphy over on Facebook says, Tori, if you were to go on the ISS, what book, tune, or film would you take? I don't know. That's a great question. It'd be hard to say. I don't have, I don't know. I guess probably like a movie that I could probably watch a million times over and over again. Like this, I don't know if this would be a thing, because like, if you're going to the International Space Station, would you...
Endeavour Houston, Endeavour Houston, and you are go, and step 6.3.
We're getting double audio now.
Here you go, and 6.3 for Endeavour. 6.3 for Endeavour.
Yeah, so probably the movie that I would bring that I could watch over and over again is probably the Apollo 13 movie. Like, I love that movie, but I don't know if that's the movie you want to bring to the ISS if you're actually traveling on a rocket. Like, that's probably not. It's like it'd be like watching an airplane disaster movie while you're flying on an airplane. Like that seems like a bad idea. But that's like one of my favorite movies that I can watch over and over again. But I probably wouldn't bring that to the space station with me if I was going to the space station. I think, I don't know. I'd have to bring. I think I'd have to probably bring a different movie along with me.
Again, all the hatches are open between the International Space Station and Dragon. The crew of Endeavour just going through some last-minute checklists to make sure that Dragon Endeavour is configured properly before they leave it, which successfully carried them from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
Dunn Pierce says he hates that movie. He can't forgive them for getting the quote wrong. Are you talking about the Houston, we've had a problem quote? It is earlier
this morning at 2:08 a.m.
It's yeah, they've kind of popularized that term, and then people walk around just saying like, Houston, we have a problem, which is not the actual quote. I think the actual quote is like, Houston, we've had a problem here, right? I actually don't like, one of the things I don't like is that, I made a video about the Apollo 12 lightning strike, and I got a bunch of people that commented on it that they listened to the audio of my caution and warning alarm that was making it, and it's not the Apollo 13, the that you hear in Apollo 13, like very dramatic, like, oh my goodness, warning. Like the actual Apollo caution and warning sound was more like so here's the Apollo 13 one. So that's the Apollo 13 master alarm. That is not what it actually sounded like. That is way more dramatic. Let me see if I can find the actual caution and warning sound. It was more like a square wave, like beep boo beep boo beep boo, like. Let's see, where can I find? But yeah, so that bothers me from the Apollo 13 movie. Because I had a bunch of people comment. They're like, oh, you got the sound wrong. It's like, no, I didn't actually, but you must have watched that movie. More beeps. Yeah, more beeps and boops. Yeah, it's a square wave, and I actually have it. I don't know, somewhere I have it in my, because I included the actual sound in the Apollo 12 video that I made. Caution and warning system, Apollo command, master alarm. Let me see if this is it. Yeah, there you go. So that's the actual caution and warning sound. Not like the dramatic Apollo 13 sound.
Dragon hatch are open.
New to the frame on the left there is Roscosmos cosmonaut Oleg Novitsky. He was the commander of the MS-18 Soyuz spacecraft that made its way to the International Space Station earlier this month with NASA astronaut Mark Vande Hei.
All right, we're still waiting on crew ingress here. Should be soon, hopefully.
Yeah, but he'll be part of the welcome ceremony as part of the 11-member crew that makes up Expedition 65, currently aboard the space station.
I'm so glad the crew didn't hear that. Yeah, right. Imagine they probably wouldn't look so calm if all of a sudden they started hearing some of those warning sounds. What do you think of the movie Gravity? There's a lot of things that bother me about that. I want to do one of my video ideas, which I haven't actually put together, but I had started getting suggestions from people in our Discord. I was looking for suggestions from people on like bad movie space interpretations, basically, like terrible things that movies have done in space that you're just like, what? That no. So I was looking for ideas on that, and I want to make like a reaction video to like put them all together in a compilation, and like I would just have no idea what the clips are. I'd have somebody put them together for me, and then I would just play them, and we could react to them and talk about how they just completely fail at science and physics or, you know, real life. I would love to do that. I gotta put together some clips somehow. But if you're in our Discord and you have any ideas for clips of terrible movies that you want to, terrible space events and movies that you want me to react to, tag me in Discord, because I would like to do that. BTML Games says, do you like For All Mankind? Yeah, I'm just getting into the second season for All Man in it's the Apple TV series For All Mankind. I actually really like it. Not sponsored, but I really like it.
Scene and voice check for upcoming PIO event. We're good with the scene check if we could just get a voice check.
Getting a lot of echoing.
And Shannon, we are not picking up any audio.
How about now? Having things on works better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And Shannon, we did hear you that time. We're checking.
All right, so we're actually, well, I guess we don't really have a, we don't have an,
Can you give us another long count?
we don't have an ingress time, but
Sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Copy, thank you. We're checking. And that's a good voice check.
yeah, so we don't have a time for crew ingress, but it should be soon.
And SpaceX Endeavour on space ground for a while.
The welcoming ceremony, though, is scheduled for about 20 minutes from now.
SpaceX is with you on space to ground for LIO.
We were trying to install the LIO with the bag cover. That is LIO 1. Oh, correction. Yeah, LIO 2 in the bag and in the non-active storage area. And while we were pushing in, it tore the bag and it cut that bag pretty big. Would you like us to proceed with this or go without the bag?
Copy that.
Just to let you know, the seal is on that LIO cartridge too.
Copy that, Dragon. Just to read back, there's a tear in the LIO bag as a result of trying to insert into the LIO slot. Stand by, we're going to get you some forward actions.
Okay, copy. And we do have a camera pointing at it right now. It's a cargo camera.
Sounds like they ripped the bag for...
Copy that, we see it, thanks.
I think those are the batteries. They're battery packs? I'm not sure what those are. I threw up a crew ingress event. I don't know what time it's going to happen, but... I put it up there just so that we know that that's coming up. I don't know what that acronym is. I think they said it's lithium ion something. LIO. I'm assuming that's LIO. I don't know what the acronym is specifically. Does anybody know what they're referring to? Like what they were just trying to store in the bag that they just ripped the bag on? Oh, is it just L? The IO is just the ion, lithium ion. Yeah. So I thought that they were something to do with batteries. I don't know what those batteries are for. Well, I doubt that's a huge issue, but I'm sure it's a little bit. They're gonna get a little wave to each other. They haven't come in yet. We're still waiting on that. Hopefully expected soon. But yeah, the welcoming ceremony is about,
Dragon SpaceX, can you confirm if it is LIO cartridge 1 or LIO cartridge 2?
Yeah, the LIO cartridge 2 is in the bag. LIO cartridge 1 is secured in the active location with the seal on.
oh, this might be scrubber, like CO2 scrubber cartridges?
Copy that. Stand by 1.
Might be, are they lithium They might be lithium hydroxide cartridges for scrubbing carbon dioxide. That might be what they're referring to, not batteries. Yeah, maybe I think Chris might be onto something. It might be LiOH, not LiO. Lithium, is it LiOH? Is that the, that's lithium hydroxide, right? Well, that could delay us a little bit. We got minor issue. I should have taken a break in the middle for my coffee, because now my coffee is just ice cold. Hey, I'm
Dragon SpaceX, we are going to have you stow that LiO cartridge without a bag. How copy?
While they're sorting this out, we're gonna take a life break for a second. I'll be back in 2 seconds for
For those of you joining,
Crew
we're in a
Ingress.
handover period with some of the tracking and data
While I have
relay
time.
satellites, geosynchronous satellites that provide the video feeds we were seeing and enjoying from the International Space Station as we eagerly await the crew inside Endeavour to enter into the International Space Station. The Expedition 65 crew members, all 7 of them gathered inside of the station on the other end of the Dragon's hatch, eagerly awaiting for them to get inside. Flight controllers here in Mission Control Hawthorne just undergoing a series of checks, final steps really, for the astronauts inside Endeavour to undergo before they enter through the hatch and leave the capsule that brought them up to the International Space Station. Some of the LiO cartridges you're hearing are lithium hydroxide cartridges that scrub carbon dioxide from the environment of the Dragon Endeavour capsule. Now regaining some of those views. Once the 4-person crew of Endeavour comes onto the International Space Station, there will officially be 11 crew members on board as part of Expedition 65. We're still on track to start a welcome ceremony here in a little less than 15 minutes. We'll have representatives.
Dragon SpaceX, repeating a call. We did have a teacher's handover. Want to confirm that we will stow this cartridge without a LiO bag, but we just want to verify that the seals are secure on each side of the LiO.
And just to verify, seals are secure on both LiO cartridges 1 and 2.
SpaceX copies. Thank you.
And SpaceX, please let us know what to do with the bag itself.
All right, we're back. Quick little break there. Guess I gotta update the crew ingress because that hasn't happened yet. I just took a guess on it. All right, let's update that because our welcoming ceremony still.
So from left to right inside the International Space Station's.
Dragon, SpaceX copies. We do want to save this bag so we can look at the RIP in the future. Stand by, we're going to get you words on where to store it.
And Endeavor copies.
So I guess I'm expecting crew ingress maybe in 5 to 10 minutes.
Endeavor still working through those last minutes.
And then that welcoming ceremony is scheduled for, about, that's, well, I guess the welcoming ceremony is scheduled for 10 minutes. Hopefully that's still on time. That would, oh wait, I got my times wrong here in the,
Sorry, could you repeat where to store that bag?
Yes, stand by, Dragon. We are finding a good common bag to put it in for temporary stowage.
Okay, copy that. We'll just stow it for now.
Copy, Dragon. If possible, we can also put it in a trash bag in location 17. That would be bag 111.
Okay, copy. We'll get a trash bag from location 17, bag 111, and put it in there.
who knew that a ripped storage bag would have such big implications? So the welcoming ceremony, what is...
Good copy. That is bag 111, and that is actually location 18.
Location 18, bag 111.
So the welcoming ceremony is scheduled for about 9 minutes from now. Seems like maybe that might be delayed a little bit. Because we're still waiting on crew ingress.
In this frame, all 7 crew members of Expedition 65 currently on board the station gathered to welcome the Crew-2 astronauts aboard Endeavor. On the top left is NASA astronaut Victor Glover. You see Soichi Noguchi in the foreground on the right there. On the far right is NASA astronaut Mark Vandehei. Mike Hopkins is just behind Soichi.
Somebody said, how much do astronauts earn? Are they millionaires? They actually, surprisingly, astronauts don't, because they're like government jobs, they don't actually make that much money. So the average, I mean, I guess like they could, but I don't know what the average salary is. Like, they can make anywhere from 66,000 to 161,000 per year. So obviously, if you're at the high end of that, like, you're making a good living, and 66,000 is is a pretty decent living as well. But if you consider like you're risking your life, that's if you ask me, that's probably on the low side for to go risk your life flying on board a rocket, a controlled explosion. But yeah, it's about, it looks like, based on what I'm seeing, this is a report from Business Insider from last year. He said that was civilian astronauts between 66,000 and 161,000 thousand. And they have pretty fixed pay scales. But I think, yeah, so I'm looking at, so this is the Business Insider report. It says a new astronaut with early experience would be about 66,000. After several years of excellent performance, the same astronaut might be eligible for Step 10 pay, which would be 86,000. More experienced and more qualified astronauts could start at 78,000, and after several years go up to 102,000. Top tiers at a GS-15 would be 142,000. So yeah, it's right in that range. So those are I mean, it's, you know, nothing to shake a stick at. Like, they're making really good livings, but it's like, they're not millionaires like whoever was that was asking that question. So like, I'm sure there's a ton of people out there that would be like, oh, I would kill to make, you know, starting salary at 66,000. You know, it's nothing to shake a stick at by any means. But they if you consider that, you know, their job is to literally risk their lives on top of a rocket, just seems kind of low. Seems like you should make, and they're kind of, you know, it seems like you should be making like sports athlete salaries, like, you know, professional athlete salaries that are making these millions of dollars for doing that kind of thing. And considering it's like really, really difficult to become an astronaut, very selective, very, you know, there's very few people that get this opportunity.
To the orbiting laboratory today.
Yeah, and that's John Klein says, he's like, well, I'd pay them to go to the ISS, so them paying me would just be a bonus. Right, yeah, there's a lot of people that, like, right now we're getting into space tourism. There's a lot of people that are like, hey, you don't need to pay me, I'll pay you to go. You'd figure that they'd get bonus pay for spacewalks, though. I don't think they do. I mean, because they're, like, these are NASA astronauts and government employees, like, I'm sure, I don't understand government. I work in the private sector. I don't work in the public sector. But in the public sector, like, you have pay scales and...
Progress with Ingress.
Endeavor, welcome aboard. You are go to Ingress.
All right, here we go. Looks like we're finally getting to Ingress.
Endeavor arriving.
Got some confirmation that the crew
Ringing the
is
bell.
go for
There we go.
Ingress, and you can see Aki is the first to ingress onto the International Space
That's
Station.
Aki Hoshide. That's Thomas Pesquet. Those are the mission specialists.
From the European Space Agency.
Lots of hugs and smiles right now.
There's Megan MacArthur, the pilot.
Megan MacArthur of Crew-2 is next, being welcomed by the Expedition 65 crew members. and Shane Kimbrough bringing up the rear.
He's the commander. There we go. They made it. They're on board. Finally. Hey, guys, we're here. All right. High five. No. Me. Okay.
The 11-person crew of Expedition 65 now together inside Node 2 of the International Space Station.
Can't get nobody.
Though we can't
just like
even
stick my hand,
hear
like,
audio
high five.
in there, you could
High
really
five.
feel
High five.
the excitement
Oh, right.
just
Maybe
by
just get
the
an
looks
accidental
on their
high five.
faces,
Maybe.
the hugs that they're giving. Now they're getting ready
a lot of
for
people here.
this official welcome ceremony. You can see them.
Look at how many
getting
people
into
there are.
position
Jeez.
with
Let the Tetris game of fitting 11 crew members into a single frame begin.
right.
Trying to figure out where's everybody going to go. It's going to be 12 because you got to fit me in too.
12. Gwyn.
Oh, that's right.
Plus the penguin. Where's the penguin? It looks like we're just going to jump right to the welcoming ceremony. So
Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Station. We are ready for the event.
I'm just going to go right to it. That's good.
Mr. Jursic, please call station for a voice check.
That's the acting NASA administrator, Steve Jursic.
Station, this is Steve Jursic. How do you hear me?
Steve, we have you loud and clear. Welcome to the International Space Station.
Hey, man, it is awesome to see the 11 of you on station. It's incredible. Congratulations, Crew-2 on an amazing launch yesterday. Coming to Kennedy Space Center and watching launches never gets old. And seeing the pre-dawn launch yesterday was amazing. So congratulations. I also want to congratulate the NASA and SpaceX team for our third commercial crew mission in less than a year. A lot of firsts on this mission, including the first crew handover of commercial crew vehicle, and it was really cool during docking to see one Dragon docked on the Zenith port and the other Dragon coming in for docking. So it was amazing. April has been an amazing month and a really busy month for ISS, with Mark, Pieter, and Oleg launching to ISS. Kate and her Russian colleagues coming back. Crew-2 there, and now preparing for Crew-1 to come back. And I am really excited for all the research, technology development that is going to be able to be enabled on station with these regular crew rotations and having 4 crew up there consistently. It's not only important for advancing research technology development to benefit folks here on Earth, but also to prepare for Artemis and our return to the moon, and eventually are preparing for human missions to Mars. So it's just an incredibly exciting time for ISS. You know, Shane, Megan, Aki, and Thomas, we thank Tomas. We thank you for everything you do for the agency.
I just screenshot of myself in here.
And we look forward to an amazing expedition. Crew-1, you guys have had an amazing 6 months. Mike, Victor, Shannon, and Suichi, I've followed what you've done to upgrade the station and all the research and technology you've been able to accomplish. And just want to congratulate you on an amazing expedition. And we look forward to your return next week. So again, I'm just really excited for this new era for ISS and all that you all have and will be able to accomplish. So thank you.
Thank you, Steve. It is very exciting to have Crew-2 with us today, and so I'm not going to take up any time here. I'm just going to hand it over so we can get their thoughts.
Thanks, Shannon. Thanks, Steve. And on behalf of Crew-2, we are just so excited to be here. I'm very excited to be here. In some ways, it's been a long journey. In other ways, it's been a pretty quick one-year assignment flow. So it's taken a tremendous amount of work from a lot of different teams to get us here. We, of course, have our excellent training team at Johnson Space Center, also an outstanding training team from Hawthorne, and the entire ISS program and commercial crew program working together to get us here, of course, as well as along with our international international partners. We're just really excited to be here and be part of this historic mission with the 2 Dragons on board. First reuse of a capsule, first reuse of a booster. It's just a tremendous achievement on behalf of our partner SpaceX. So I want to congratulate and thank them. And we're so excited to be here. We're ready to get to work. There's a lot of great science that I know we're going to be doing, and we're just excited to learn and get started. So thank you.
Anybody?
Thank you, Mr. Jerzyk. We now welcome Associate Administrator Kathy Leaders to provide remarks. Ms. Leaders, please call station for a voice check.
Station, hi, this is Kathy Leaders. Do you hear me?
Kathy, we have you loud and clear.
Wow, you know, I just don't, I think I could see Endeavour approaching station maybe one more time, you know, near and dear to my heart to see that going on. And, you know, I think both Steve and Megan mentioned how amazing it was to see resilience there on the station. The folks, Crew-1 folks and the other parts of the ISS team, Mark, and you guys had the best view, but it was really cool seeing it from here on Earth. Like Steve talked about, wow, this is, and Megan too, we talk a lot about this being, and exploration being a team sport, and this mission so far has really exemplified that. You know, with our commercial partner, SpaceX, with our international partners, and with Thomas and Aki, and obviously Megan, you and Shane, you know, holding up on the NASA side here, and then our commercial crew and ISS teams. Congratulations to all of you. It's just been an amazing, amazing mission, and I know you guys are going to be doing some really great things. I've been here watching the folks here on station waiting for you, and I know you guys will be having a lot of fun together over this direct handover period, and with all of you on board, it's going to be a lot of fun for you, and getting ready for Crew-1 to come home. So I just wanted to really, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to the whole team, the international, the commercial, you folks there on the space station now today safely, and looking forward to, like Steve said, seeing your accomplishments over the next 6 months. Thanks again.
Thank you, Kathy. Really appreciate your support.
Thank you, Ms. Leaders. We now welcome JAXA President Dr. Yamakawa Hiroshi. Dr. Yamakawa, please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Yamakawa Hiroshi from Tsukuba. How do you hear me?
Dr. Yamakawa, we hear you loud and clear.
Well, thank you, Aki. Well, congratulations to all. I watched yesterday's launch on TV and really feel relieved by your safe arrival to the station now. In this tough situation around the world, I believe you have brought courage and hope for all of us. It is a great pleasure not only for me but also for Japan that 2 Japanese astronauts, Aki and Soichi, have boarded the operational spacecraft of the Crew Dragon twice in a row. This represents the many years of close cooperation between close cooperation on the International Space Station. I'm so happy to see both of you with big smiles today. And I understand that Aki advocates teamwork for this long-term mission, which comes from your experience in rugby football. The ISS is a symbol of international cooperation around the world, and we are looking forward to seeing you work as a team, build a scrum with all of the crew members from NASA, ESA, and Russia on board, and keep scoring tries to maximize outcome during your mission. Soichi, we wish you a safe return to the Earth, and Aki, good luck and enjoy your stay in space. 野口さん、地球で待ってます。星出さん、これから半年間頑張ってください。Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be part of this team. We have a 11-person scrum right here, and with 4 countries representing. It's really an honor and privilege to fly on Crew-2 Dragon and get here. Thank you to all the people that worked very, very hard to prepare us and the vehicle. We got here safely, and now it's time to work here on board the International Space Station. And we look forward to working with everyone around the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Yamakawa. We now welcome ESA Director General Joseph Ashbacher. Dr. Ashbacher, please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Joseph Ashbacher. How do you hear me?
Hey, Joseph, we hear you loud and clear. Welcome to the space station.
Thank you, Thomas. This is really great to see you, that you and your crewmates have arrived safely on the space station. Greetings to all of you, 11 of you at the station, from all of us at ESA. It is really a fantastic effort to see you all so nicely grouped together in the group photo. I think the station needs expansion, seeing what that you're all crowding together so nicely. On ESA, Thomas, we are all very, very proud of you and what you're doing for space, for Europe, for the space agency, also for France. You're extremely popular, as you know. We're all very proud of you, but of course we're also very proud of all the other colleagues which are next to you, because astronauts are so fascinating and they give so much inspiration to all of us. So this was the first launch of an ESA astronaut on a Crew Dragon. It was spectacular, and together with Philippe Baptiste, the newly elected CNES president, we have followed very closely from the suits up all the way to the orbital journey to the station, and now just recently, just a few minutes ago, the hatch opening, and this was really so exciting and really fantastic. It has been, I think, a long day for all of you, but you all look extremely in good shape and in good spirits. You're all smiling. This is really fantastic to see down here from Earth. But ESA is really very happy to see your assignment, Thomas, towards the end of the mission as the ISS commander. And I really would like to take this opportunity to thank the partners of the space station for this honor to give to Thomas, which certainly is a sign and a recognition of his quality and also his personal quality, but of course engineering and technical qualities to be the commander of the station, and also recognition for ESA as being a strong partner and supporter of the space station all the way. So I know that you have a long and very intense training period behind you, and you're all set to go. There's a lot ahead of you. Hundreds of experiments are waiting, and all of you will be kept extremely busy, but we all look forward to see the results of these experiments. So Thomas, really very best wishes from all of us. Good luck and bonne chance.
Hey, thanks, Joseph. It's really unbelievable to be here on Space Station. Space Station has changed quite a bit since last time I was here. I've never seen so many astronauts on board. I've never seen so many different spacecrafts on board, and I think it's a tribute to how strong the program is going. I want to echo what Megan has said. It took a lot of effort from all kinds of people, you know, from the highest manager to all kinds of support persons to bring us here. So we want to thank all of them. And I want to say a few words about international cooperation. You said a lot, but it's been 20 years since it's been 20 years. Actually, Shane's line, I learned it from Shane. It's 20 years since JAXA and ESA and NASA and Russian astronaut have been together in space. So it's actually pretty historic what's happening today. We can't wait to start our work on the space station. We can't wait to see what's ahead on the adventure for us. In those 5 months, we're so happy to see our friends. We're going to have to say goodbye to them soon. We wish we could keep them a little bit longer, but not too long as well, because 11 people is a lot on space station. But yeah, it's good to be here. we're impatient, and it's going to be unbelievable. I want to say a few words in French. Je voudrais surtout remercier tous les gens qui ont travaillé sur cette mission en français, et puis un petit mot pour les familles et les amis qui sont déplacés jusqu'à Cap Canaveral. Ça n'a pas été un voyage facile. En tout cas, ça m'a vraiment fait chaud au cœur de les avoir avec moi. Donc je voulais les saluer un peu particulièrement. Voilà. Merci à tous.
Yeah, I caught about 4 words of that. I took French when I was in high school. Don't remember any of it.
All right, go ahead and...
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes the event. Thank you.
That's it. That's the end of the welcoming
Acting
ceremony.
Administrator Jursic, Associate Administrator Leaders, Dr. Yamakawa, and Dr. Oshbacher for your participation in the Crew-2 welcome ceremony. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.
All right. That's it. That's the end. 11 crew members on board the International Space Station, or 12 if you count the weird guy with the green screen. No, I'll go back to the box look. Don't mistake me for a crew member. So that's gonna wrap up coverage here for today. We've been going for 3 hours and 45 minutes. They're gonna wrap up now because they are safely aboard the International Space Station, which means I'm gonna wrap up here now because now I'm tired and I'm hungry and I gotta go have breakfast. But this is good. Our next event will well, it's either gonna be Starship or it might be the Crew Dragon Splashdown, which is coming up in just 4 days. Crew 1 is coming back on the 28th, so that would be the next crewed event here. Be Splashdown of that, but we might have a Starship SN15 in between there, maybe, if they can fit it in Tuesday, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But Splashdown Wednesday, and yeah, we got a busy week coming up. Starship, Crew Dragon Splashdown, we'll have it all. I always get nervous about the Crew Dragon Splashdown. That's the one that's a little more nerve-wracking for me, but it'll be exciting. Exciting to see another Crew Dragon come back, even though we've now had 3 crewed missions on the Crew Dragon head up to the International Space Station. We've still only had 1 crewed Crew Dragon come back, the one with Bob and Doug. That's it. This will only be the second time that we've had a Crew Dragon come back with crew on board. It's really hard to say crewed Crew Dragon. Do you have to say crewed Crew Dragon? It seems like it seems redundant a little bit, but anyways, so yeah, it'll be an exciting week. But I'm gonna wrap up coverage now because I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's now 8 o'clock in the morning, my time here on the East Coast in the United States, which means we're gonna end it. SpaceX is still going. They're gonna wrap up here, but I'm not gonna stick around with them. You can check out, see their goodbyes. They're supposed to wrap up coverage here shortly, anyways. But I'm just gonna head out and call it a day. I would say join the Discord. It's free. There's no cost to it. No obligations. Join it. You can chat it up with us. Hang out with our space community. The Space Lobster Nation, if you will. That's what we call it. That's the way it is. And you join the Discord, hang out. If you want to take the extra step, consider becoming a Patreon member or a YouTube channel member. And if you don't want to do any of that, then just come back and watch again. That's cool too. You don't have to do any of that kind of stuff, but love having you around just to watch us and hang out with us. So that's gonna do it for me. I'm gonna head out for the day. Maybe I'll say hello and once I can recover and maybe just sit down for a minute. I will. We'll say hello in Discord. Maybe chat a little bit later. So, all right, everybody, that's gonna do it for me. My name's Tori. This is Overlook Horizon. Thanks for watching today. And I will see you real soon.